After practicing Zhuanggong in the morning class, he did not feel hot all over like he did now. He could more clearly feel that the qi and blood in his body had reached a level that was difficult to reach on weekdays, making him feel as if he could see within himself. The practice has amazing effects. His previous judgment on this secret yoga was correct. It was indeed a very unique dual cultivation method, but it was not as magical as described in martial arts and fairy tales. Of course, it is quite magical. From what Wu Jiantao feels now, it has a very unique effect in stimulating the qi and blood of both parties. As for other effects, they have not yet manifested themselves. Let's go downstairs. You take Daodu and Mio, and I'll get the baby bed. Wu Jiantao was worthy of being a star warrior. He recovered quickly and easily picked up the wooden baby bed weighing about 60 to 70 kilograms with just one hand and followed Chen Jun downstairs. Oh, AI, is it really okay for us to go look for Xiaojun first? Why don't we find a hotel to stay in first? Don't worry, there is a very good B&B near Xiaojun's hometown. It is different from those slutty ones who show all kinds of small cards at night. The room is big and clean. In addition to the bed, there is a sofa, a desk, and a balcony. It is enough for you to toss around. As soon as they got off the car, Li Xiaoshan took the lead, pushing the suitcase and walking in front, speaking nonchalantly. What she said sounded normal, but people who knew her knew that the car was rushing forward at this time. The doors had been welded shut and no one could get out. I remember coming to her house a while ago. One of her neighbors runs a B&B, which is very close to Xiaojun's home. Oh, that's fine. Bai Xiaoyuan then nodded with relief. Although she had been to Kyoto more than once, this was her first time to visit Chen Jun's hometown. Well, it felt a lot quieter than the Wulaton in Kyoto she had been to before. There were not many people on the streets, and most of the people coming and going were older. There were not many people as young as them. Not only that, after walking in, Bai Xiaoyuan felt more deeply that there was an illusion of being far away from the world here, a sense of tranquility, as if across the city. The slightly uneven bluestone slabs on the ground, and the houses on both sides have obviously been renovated, but the decoration of the exterior walls and roofs still retains the characteristics of old Kyoto, revealing a hint of simplicity and vastness. The vicissitudes of time are hidden in it, and only those who calm down can feel it. In addition, after years of greening, this hutong community has planted trees on both sides of the hutong, inside and outside the houses nearby, and in some wide areas. The afternoon sun shines on several large green trees in the alley, and then leaks through the few gaps between the dense branches and leaves, forming mottled light and shadows on the ground. The sun is strong, and there are not many birds. Only the occasional cicada sounds can be heard, which adds a bit of tranquility to this quiet alley. For a moment, Bai Xiaoyuan inexplicably fell in love with this place, imagining Chen Jun walking through this alley from childhood to adulthood and riding past it on a bicycle. Before coming here, she had heard from Li Xiaoshan that all the alleys were breathable. Li Xiaoshan and Chen Jun had once deliberately not opened the map and wandered around in the alleys. Because of this, every time they went out for a walk, they were constantly surprised and full of fun. Suddenly, you can turn a corner and come across a coffee shop with few people and soft music playing in the quiet. Walking in, you will find that there are actually quite a few people inside, most of them sitting and chatting, or watching the young men and women singing soft songs on the stage. If you sing well, you can also go on stage and sing a song from the past after passing the store manager's test. Or maybe you can find a surprising women's clothing store in another place, not a brand chain, but a purely handmade, custom-made clothing store, with classical and elegant girls' skirts and colorful clothes, as well as elegant men's Zhongshan suits and long gowns. The former is elegant and beautiful, while the latter is handsome and refined. Just like on the way to Chen Jun's hometown, Bai Xiaoyuan saw such a small alley shop more than once, and it actually sold food. If they didn't know why they came here, they would have turned around and gone in. Soon, under the guidance of Li Xiaoshan, the two came to a very elegant courtyard. They walked up and rang the doorbell, and a steady sound of footsteps came from the yard. "Who is it?" A soft, old female voice came, and the door opened. An old lady wearing reading glasses appeared in front of them. "Grandma, it's me, Xiaoshan. Do you still remember me?" "Hey, Xiaoshan, remember. Come in quickly. Hey, who is this?" "Grandma, I'm Bai Xiaoyuan, Chen Jun's colleague at our M University's Institute of Computer Physics." Bai Xiaoyuan introduced herself gracefully. "Oh, I'll just call you Yuan. Come on, come in. Led by Grandma Chen, Bai Xiaoyuan walked into the courtyard with her luggage, and her eyes could not help but look around the spacious courtyard with curiosity. The vibrant green plants grew and spread from one corner of the yard, covering the entire wall. The lush green was dotted with a few small white flowers. On the other side of the wall, there were several pots of green plants neatly placed, which looked very elegant, and it was obvious that someone had carefully trimmed them. This is where Chen Jun has lived since she was a child. There was a flash of surprise in Bai Xiaoyuan's eyes, but Li Xiaoshan, who had been here several times, didn't pay any attention to it. Well, there haven't been many changes here in the past few years. When the two girls walked into the living room, Chen Jun and Wu Jiangtao, who had just finished their morning class practice on the second floor, also came down. Hey, long time no see, Daodu, Mio Mio. Godmother is here tilde tilde. Seeing the two little ones in Chen Jun's arms, Li Xiaoshan's face immediately lit up. She moved closer with great love and reached out to gently hold Daodu's chubby little hand. Well, the baby has woken up now. Seeing another face approaching him, he immediately turned around, and his big black eyes kept looking at the other person. The look in his eyes revealed a hint of doubt, as if he was trying to recognize the familiar smile in front of him. This look. Naoya. As she watched, she actually made a sound, as if she was greeting Li Xiaoshan. So cute. Li Xiaoshan couldn't help but reach out her hand and gently took the little Daodu from Chen Jun's arms. What surprised Grandma Chen was that the little girl, who always made a fuss when her mother held her, actually lay very quietly in her arms, just making babbling sounds, staring at Li Xiaoshan with her big black eyes. Chapter 217, New World. Please subscribe and vote tilde. This is the first time I've seen Daodu want to be held by someone other than her mother. All the old people said this with envy. Hey. Speaking of this, Li Xiaoshan's face showed a smug look. Fortunately, when Chen Jun was discharged from the hospital and recuperated for 3 or 4 months, I hugged her very often. Maybe that's why she was willing to let me hug her. Bai Xiaoyuan pouted at the side, but did not argue with her. Instead, she naturally took her brother Mio Mio from Chen Jun's other arm. Compared to his sister's fussiness, the brother's temperament is obviously much calmer and gentler. Generally speaking, unless he is hungry or has something in his pocket, he basically won't make a fuss, and he won't resist others holding him. You guys want to stay on A and B. As soon as they sat down, they talked about where Li Xiaoshan and Chen Jun would live. Grandma Chen immediately said, No, our courtyard is big enough, and we just cleaned up a guest room a while ago. If you don't mind living with 2 people, you can squeeze into the guest room. At the invitation of Grandma Chen, Li Xiaoshan did not hesitate to stay. She had stayed at Xiaojun's house more than once before. Last time she stayed in Xiaojun's room, but there was a male owner in that room now, so she could not live there. As for Bai Xiaoyuan, she decided to stay in a B&B outside. Well, there was only one house away from Xiaojun's house. Chen Jun's old classmate bought a house in the second ring of Kyoto and moved his whole family there. The house here in the old city was directly converted into a B&B. The downstairs was even converted into a water bar, and the rooms upstairs were converted into a B&B for tourists from other places to stay. Coming to the balcony on the second floor, the 3 best friends sat down and chatted. As for the 2 babies, they were each held in the arms of their 2 best friends. Chen Jun was also happy and relaxed. The B&B is right there. Wait a minute, I'll call my old classmate and ask. As he spoke, Chen Jun took out his cell phone and made a call. Soon she booked a room with her old classmate. When Lu Zhou arrived in the evening, Bai Xiaoyuan and he could check in directly. As she was speaking, Li Xiaoshan kept looking at Chen Jun as if she had discovered some new world. Xiaoyuan, look at her quickly. Bai Xiaoyuan was slightly stunned, but saw this guy pointing at Chen Jun up and down. Did you see anything? What? Not only Bai Xiaoyuan, but Chen Jun also looked puzzled and frowned. What's wrong with me? It's okay, just stand up and take 2 steps. Chen Jun looked at her warily and refused. Oh, it's okay, I'm just taking a look. It won't cost you any meat. At this time, Bai Xiaoyuan also reacted and joined the camp, urging her to stand up and take a few steps. Being entangled by her 2 best friends for no apparent reason, Chen Jun finally couldn't resist their demands, so she stood up and walked back and forth on the balcony. At this moment, her graceful posture was so beautiful that Li Xiaoshan and Bai Xiaoyuan stared at her in amazement. Gurgle! They swallowed their saliva at the same time. Not to mention the men, even the women at this moment, had the urge to hold this best friend in their arms and ravage her. Seeing that the 2 of them had eyes that were inexplicably similar to someone else's, Chen Jun blushed slightly and rolled her eyes at the 2 girlfriends. What are you looking at? You really don't know what has changed about yourself. Bai Xiaoyuan laughed so hard that she spoke in her native dialect. Li Xiaoshan was also very happy. Take 2 more steps and I'll take a short video for you to see. What is this for? Puzzled, Chen Jun, who hadn't realized what the problem was, walked back and forth a few steps, came over and sat down in a bad mood, and her two best friends immediately handed her their phones. "Here, look at yourself." Chen Jun took it, clicked on the video, and then saw on the phone screen. When I walked back and forth on the balcony, my posture was like bending willows and taking small steps, or like the swaying of lotus flowers, with the willows brushing against my body and the graceful steps of lotus flowers. Even though this was herself, she couldn't help but feel her heart skip a beat when she saw it. "Do you understand?" Looking at her face with ill intent as it turned an intoxicating red again, the two besties laughed happily again. "Tusk, tusk, tusk, tusk. Look at this slender waist and long legs. Oh, I'm greedy. I really want to touch them." As they spoke, they both stretched out their claws, but were beaten back by Chen Jun. "That's enough." She was a little angry and embarrassed. "This is the watering of love." Bai Xiaoyuan teased. Li Xiaoshan, who was standing beside her, understood the situation very well and continued her words. "I think it's not just watering, it looks like. At least it's been flooded. Oh no." When the word watering was mentioned, Chen Jun's clear face turned even redder, and she couldn't help but move her hands. She has never won over Li Xiaoshan in this debate, but it doesn't matter. Now she can crush both of them by herself. While they were having fun, Wu Jiantao came up from downstairs carrying some afternoon snacks and fruit tea that he had made. He was a little surprised to see them like this. Li Xiaoshan also took out his phone and clicked on the video of Chen Jun walking. He was slightly stunned. Perhaps because he had been at home all day and had not seen how his wife walked, he did not notice the beauty of his wife when she walked. "Hey Zhang Tao, tell me the truth." "Li Xiaoshan, you are going to die. You even ask this." Chen Jun, who was still very thin-skinned and couldn't even drive, came over immediately and pinched Li Xiaoshan's cheek. "Shut up." Li Xiaoshan screamed a few times before she stopped. Wu Jiantao, on the other hand, watched the video of his wife walking on Li Xiaoshan's phone, then turned to look at her and said, "I've finished watching it, so I'll delete the video. Is that okay?" "Delete it, delete it." Li Xiaoshan had already been attracted by the afternoon snacks made by Wu Jiantao. She picked up a piece of black forest cake and ate it happily, replying without even raising her head. He immediately swiped his finger and completely deleted the video of his wife. At the end, he turned to look at his wife and said, "Don't wear a skirt if you're going out in the afternoon. Change into pants." Chen Jun blushed and rolled her eyes at him. "How hard." In response to Wu Jiantao's reaction, Li Xiaoshan lowered her head to eat cake while winking at Chen Jun and laughing nonstop. Chapter 218, Love and Food. Please subscribe to KU Tickets tilde. Come give me the little bean. Seeing that it was quite hard for someone to hold Daodu and eat snacks at the same time, Chen Jun kindly reached out and held the little guy over. She was immediately flattered. But before I could react, I felt something pressing on the back of my head, and then my whole head fell down involuntarily. Zwoosh. On the other side, the snow-white cheesecake was flattened by Li Xiaoshan's face, and most of it was smeared on her face, leaving her eyes, nose, and mouth all milky white. Although it's not like she hasn't been treated like this before. Bah, she's been treated like this before, but the amounts are completely different. The greasy cream got into her nostrils, and she could only open her mouth to breathe. In order to prevent someone from doing something desperate, Chen Jun held Daodu and took a few steps back. "Ah, Chen Xiaoshan." Li Xiaoshan immediately picked the cake off her face and was about to throw it towards Chen Jun, but she heard her say, "Don't throw it. Otherwise, if it falls on Daodu, you will have to wash her clothes, and if she cries, you will have to comfort her." "Hey, are you like this? You actually use your child as a shield. Can you still play well?" Bai Xiaoyuan pointed at the embarrassed Li Xiaoshan and laughed so hard that her body shook. Someone also became more and more daring and rubbed his claws directly on her face. Oops. Well, if she had stood further away while holding Miao, Li Xiaoshan would not have dared to throw the cake at her. Unfortunately, she stood too close. When the city gate catches fire, everyone in the pond will suffer. In the evening, Lu Zhou finally arrived at the entrance of the alley in Chen Jun's hometown with his suitcase. Originally, he came to Kyoto for a meeting, and the organizers had arranged for accommodation in the 5-star hotel where the academic forum was held. However, he turned it down on the grounds that he already had a place to stay in Kyoto. "After all, my girlfriend is here too, and I can't just leave her here alone." Here's here. At the entrance of the alley, Bai Xiaoyuan was standing there, waving at her boyfriend. Lu Zhou quickly walked up to her and held her in his arms, hugging her gently. A teasing voice came from the side. "Senior Lu, you two have only been apart for a short while. Do you still need to be so affectionate?" How hard. The science genius smiled shyly and greeted her. Li Ziaoshan was a little bored, secretly complaining that only Bai Xiaoyuan could stand this kind of boring personality, if this happened to her. It seems like the one at home isn't much better. Well, Bai Xiaoyuan and I were both the same. This time, the three of them went to the B&B where they had just checked in. After putting their luggage away, they went downstairs, walked left through the house next door, and then Lu Zhou was a little confused to see Li Ziaoshan, who was walking in front of him, walking into a courtyard very naturally. Forehead. Before I came here, I heard Bai Xiaoyuan say it was very close, so I thought it was a bit of a walk, but I didn't expect to live right next door. Isn't this too close? Hi, long time no see, Professor Lu Zhou. Wu Jiantao brought a plate of Province C's signature spicy chicken from the kitchen, placed it on the dining table on one side of the yard, and rushed into the yard to greet Lu Zhou. Just call me Lu Zhou. No need to add any professor or not. We don't need to be so polite. Lu Zhou nodded at him quickly and waved his hands. Wow, it smells so good. The spicy chicken I've been craving for. Seeing this dish, someone almost instinctively sat down, smelling the spicy aroma of chicken, and his mouth was instantly full of saliva, almost drooling. Grandpa Chen and Grandma Chen, who came out of the living room, also got to know Lu Zhou, who had just arrived. They were very surprised to hear that he was an associate professor at Southeast University of Science and Technology and had come to Beijing to attend a very important academic symposium on behalf of the institute. Okay, you are all excellent children, but while working hard to contribute to the country, you must also take good care of yourselves. Grandma Chen looked at the very shy Lu Zhou and liked him more and more. She couldn't help but nag him a little more. Especially taking care of the family. You can't just focus on your career. I know you have to work hard at your age, but no matter how hard you work, your own family is also important. Otherwise, you will regret it in the future. Well, it seems that the old man is speaking to Lu Zhou, but in fact he is speaking to Chen Jun and Wu Jiantao. After all, the case of Mo Wan and his son is right in front of them. Because of the guests, today's dinner was particularly sumptuous. Before the meal started, the girls arranged the beautiful dishes neatly for a family photo and uploaded it to their moments, commonly known as consecration. After finishing this, they sat down and started eating. What made Li Ziaoshan the happiest was that Chen Jun and Bai Xiaoyuan did not compete with her for food at the dinner table today. On second thought, it made sense. I am the guest today, and Chen Jun needs to control her diet. She cannot eat oily, salty, and spicy food, otherwise it may cause bad skin condition for the baby, and even cause the eczema that has already healed to relapse. What? However, when I get married and have a baby, I will have to strictly control my diet for a long time, whether it is during the pregnancy preparation period, pregnancy period, or postpartum period. Thinking of this, Li Ziaoshan, who loves food, couldn't help but lament how hard life is, and then her appetite became even better. Since you can't avoid it, why not eat more now? Ouch. Li Ziaoshan held her belly and struggled to keep up with the pace of everyone in the alley. She looked at the people in front of her with some anger. Hey, please walk slower. Please be considerate of me, a baby who has eaten too much. Ha, you deserve it. Bai Xiaoyuan in front was gloating. At this time, they had finished dinner and walked out of Chen Jun's house, taking a stroll in this alley full of old Kyoto characteristics. In October in old Kyoto, it was already dark around 6:30, with only the last glimmer of light remaining in the western sky. Wu Jiantao and his group walked in the alley, with street lamps on both sides flickering. Ziaoshan, you can't always eat so much when you see something you like. Looking at someone who was gradually recovering while walking, Chen Jun, who was holding Xiaodu, frowned and said something. Only love and food cannot be wasted. Li Ziaoshan, who had recovered, said nonchalantly. Walking aimlessly in the alley, they accidentally came across a bar that looked very nice, and sat down in the open-air seat outside the bar. Chapter 219, I have to accompany my wife and children. I have no time. Please subscribe and ask for a month. Tickets, Tilda. As soon as I sat down, the waiter from the water bar came over and handed me a very exquisite menu. I opened it and saw all kinds of coffee and fruit tea. Just looking at the names and product pictures, they seemed very unique. As for the prices, after all, this is Kyoto, so it's not cheap. It's a little bit higher than in City F. Everyone ordered a drink, and Li Ziaoshan was also excited. I want an iced mocha. Wait, Wu Jiantao quickly stopped her. You can't drink this. Li Ziaoshan was puzzled. Wu Jiantao shook his head and turned to look at his wife beside him. You ate too much for dinner and now you're drinking coffee and ice. If you don't want to get an upset stomach, you'd better not drink this. Drink juice. Chen Jun rolled her eyes at her bestie, turned to the waiter and said, "Give her a cup of lemon tea, warm." "Hey, at least take the ice off. How can you drink warm lemon tea?" Chen Jun reached out and held her down and said to the waiter, "That's it, thank you." Li Xiaoshan. At this moment, she inexplicably recalled the time when she was held down by Yuan Huang and was also unable to resist. "Hello, our warm lemon tea is just as good as iced one and even has a richer and more diverse taste," the waiter explained with a smile, then turned and left. Well, Li Xiaoshan, who was physically suppressed, had no choice but to give in, especially after her best friend explained it to her. During this period, she systematically studied the theory of traditional Chinese medicine. According to the 5 elements theory of traditional Chinese medicine, the heart belongs to fire and the spleen belongs to earth, and the derived relationship is fire produces earth. Excessive spleen may cause heart failure. This is reflected in diet. When people eat a lot, they need to consume heart blood and heart qi to digest. Heart qi and heart blood are mainly supplied to the spleen and stomach. When the spleen and stomach are in an overactive state, the blood flow and oxygen supply to the brain are relatively reduced, and people are prone to drowsiness. This is actually a manifestation of self-regulation and balance of the body's life energy system. If you eat too much, you will need to consume more heart energy and blood to promote digestion of the spleen and stomach, so more heart energy will be consumed. If Li Xiaoshan were allowed to drink all kinds of cold drinks and caffeine-rich beverages at this time, it would definitely put more burden on her stomach and intestine. Her temper would become worse, and her heart qi would be hurt, and she might even suffer from gastrointestinal disorders due to alternating hot and cold diets. At the dining table, Wu Jiantao, holding his brother Miao, who was half asleep, suddenly turned his head and looked in a certain direction. "What's wrong?" At the side, Chen Jun noticed that something was wrong with him. "Fine." Wu Jiantao smiled and said, "It seems like someone has been watching us." "Hey, isn't it normal that someone is always watching us?" Li Xiaoshan on the opposite side said with a sly smile, "The way someone walks, tusk 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 tusk." "Just shut up." Chen Jun rolled his eyes at her in annoyance. After Li Xiaoshan's joke, no one took it seriously. However, Wu Jiantao picked up his phone and sent a WeChat message to Lu Zhou, who was nearby. "Wu, those people who have been following us, are they protecting you? I only drink porridge, did you notice?" Wu, "Well, actually I noticed it as soon as I left the house, but the other party didn't seem to have any hostility. I only drink porridge. Yes, they were sent by the official to protect me in this academic forum. The specific reason is a long story." What? While they were sitting here drinking drinks, chatting and laughing, 2 people were standing at the entrance of a nearby alley. One looked to be in his 20s or 30s, while the other looked to be in his 40s. Both were over 1.9 meters tall, with large bodies. One could tell by looking at them that they were not someone to be trifled with. "Master, you said that person just now was a master." "He looks about the same age as me. No matter how strong he is, he can only use his whole strength, right? Could it be that he can also use his whole strength to enter the circle like you, master?" The young man chuckled. "It's very likely," the middle-aged man said in a deep voice. "Xiaolong, I admit that you have amazing talent. It is very likely that you will break through to the whole energy and circle in 1 or 2 years. But don't forget that there are always people who are better than you. There are too many geniuses in this world." As he spoke, the middle-aged man frowned slightly and wanted to report that there was such a master around Lu Zhou. Since there was such a master around him, it would be redundant for them to come here. They could just let the bureau contact the other party. There was no need for the master and apprentice to stay here. Suddenly, the middle-aged man noticed that there was something wrong with his apprentice's expression and frowned. "Do you know him?" "Why?" Wang Xiaolong opened his mouth, not knowing how to tell his master. He couldn't say that he had been obsessed with someone else's wife and couldn't let her go until now. Although he had heard from the elders in the community that Chen Jun's husband was a teacher at the M University's martial arts department and a professional martial artist, and he thought so. Isn't he just a professional martial artist from an academic school? He can't be compared with a martial artist like himself who has experienced life and death and gone through gunfire and rain of bullets. Yes, he has always been brooding over it. What on earth did Chen Jun see in him? Well, along the way, the master and the apprentice followed to protect Lu Zhou, but Wang Xiaolong's eyes would always unconsciously look at Chen Jun and stare at Wu Jiantao. Watching their various intimate actions along the way, watching the 2 little babies in their arms, watching. My heart is filled with so many emotions that I can't describe them. When his master saw him like this, he turned around and looked at the young people not far away. He suddenly understood something and frowned. That girl is Chen Jun. What? The frustrated disciple lowered his head and clenched his fists, but his attitude made everything very clear. What? The master could only shake his head speechlessly, patted him on the shoulder, took out his cell phone, and called his team leader to explain the situation here. Soon, Wu Jiantao received a WeChat message from his cousin on his phone. I am ugly, but I am gentle. Lu Zhou is by your side. Wu black question mark face, how did you know? I am ugly but gentle. Nonsense. The two people who followed to protect him are from our security bureau. They sent a message to ask about your situation. Wu, oh. I am ugly but gentle. Okay, now I ask you whether you want to accept this temporary mission to protect Lu Zhou. I will send you an internal email with the details later. Wu, I have to spend time with my wife and children. I don't have time. I won't answer the call. I'm ugly but I'm stable. Chapter 220. Not warlike, but also not forgetting to fight. Please subscribe and vote for the monthly ticket tilde. He was speechless and complained in his heart on the other end of the phone. You kid is just this kind of thing. Forget it, this mission is not originally our responsibility in the South, so let Kyoto take charge of it. Seeing that Wu Jiantao refused very straightforwardly, Yuan Huang did not make a big deal about it and asked him to take over. He directly responded to the Kyoto Security Bureau and told them to carry on with everything as usual. They did not need to pay any attention to Wu Jiantao beside Lu Zhou and should just treat him as a hidden chess piece. This way they could better protect Professor Lu Zhou. As the night deepened, Wu Jiantao and his friends did not stay in the bar for long and went back soon. This night was very peaceful, and there were no unpleasant surprises. Grandma Chen just looked at the two babies who had returned home and looked at Chen Jun and Wu Jiantao with some reproach. It's quite cold outside at night with heavy dew. Don't take babies out for a walk. They can easily catch a cold. Okay, Grandma, let's go back to the room first, tilde. Chen Jun stuck out her tongue and quickly went back to her room upstairs with Wu Jiantao. Grandma is good in every way, but she always likes to talk about one thing over and over again. This kind of lobbying is absolutely nuclear-level lethal to young people. As soon as Chen Jun returned to the room, her phone dinged. She picked it up and saw that it was a message from Li Ziaoshan. Luckily your guest room is in another house. Otherwise, we would probably hear the sound of flooding waves at night. Please look at my expression, hehe. Roll. Chen Jun replied to her with one word in annoyance, and couldn't help but turn around to look at Wu Jiantao, who was changing diapers for two babies beside him. What's the matter? Sensing that something was wrong with her, Wu Jiantao looked up at her. No, nothing. Chen Jun blushed slightly. On the second day after Lu Zhou came to Kyoto to attend the academic conference forum, a major event happened in the capital of Huaxia. At the call of the Huaxia Martial Arts Association, the Martial Arts A-Level League, which is benchmarked against the world's top martial arts professional competitions, finally ushered in the opening ceremony. It can be seen from the teams participating in the competition that the country has really made a great determination this time. The police departments of many provinces with strong martial arts in the country have dispatched leg teams to represent their provinces. Of course, this time it was the official stage, and the most crucial thing was the actions of the major martial arts sects. Contrary to everyone's expectations, this time the major domestic sects finally stopped resisting as much as they had done in other professional competitions, and all formed league teams to participate in this A-Level League. Hahaha, that's great. We finally have a top league in China. It's a pity that this league hasn't been able to match the MMA, Hangguo's Taekwondo Open, and Yingguo's Unlimited Celebrity Tournament. Hahaha, you upstairs should be content. Being able to cooperate with the world's #1 martial arts competition is enough to prove that we are aiming for the world's #1 in this A-Level League. That's right, although these three competitions are also top-level martial arts competitions, they are still slightly inferior to the world's #1 martial arts competition in terms of reputation. This time, our competition system and fighting levels are almost the same as the rules of the world's #1 martial arts competition. Although most netizens on major media platforms on the internet were excited, some strange voices still emerged. Hahaha, ridiculous. Most people still don't know that what we call martial arts is actually just dancing. In modern times, apart from Li Feilong, who really made Chinese martial arts famous, is there anyone else? Yeah, what do those so-called martial arts schools teach nowadays? Ditto, our kid is learning the swordsmanship of the Western paladin, and I feel that his temperament has improved instantly. Some people pay attention to these voices on the internet, while others never read them. That night, Chen Jun, Wu Jiantao, Li Ziaoshan, Bai Zioyuan, and Grandpa Chen and Grandma Chen sat in front of the TV to watch the grand opening ceremony. The opening scene was a picture of the Tai Kai yin-yang fish, followed by the four symbols, the 8 diagrams. As the pictures changed, what finally emerged was indeed an ancient battlefield from China thousands of years ago, with soldiers charging on the battlefield. Various ancient weapons appeared on the battlefield, including spears, long halberds, and broadswords. Finally, the picture stops on the four ancient characters, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, written in a flamboyant style. Good. Grandpa Chen in front of the TV couldn't help but cheer. These four words embody the spirit of China in recent years, not warlike, but not forgetting to fight. Watching this extremely exciting opening ceremony, Chen Jun couldn't help but turn her head to look at her husband beside her. Jiang Tao, don't you feel it's a pity not to attend the opening ceremony? It's so lively. Watching the opening ceremony, the hosts on the stages of the 5 major competition areas across the country began to introduce the representatives of the major martial arts and the participating teams of the Security Bureau. Well, the representatives began to draw lots to decide the next competition schedule. He said lightly, "Look carefully, the representatives of each team are accompanied by staff, and there are not many participating players." Oh, why is this happening? Don't martial artists seek fame and fortune? Li Xiaoshan asked. For a true warrior in a martial arts competition, there is only victory or defeat, not fame or fortune. To be more precise, fame and fortune are only incidental. In the mind of a pure warrior, there is only the opponent and himself. Wu Jiangtao said calmly. This is also the reason why domestic martial arts competitions have not been doing well in recent years. From the Knights of the Spring and Autumn period and the Warring States period, to the martial arts sects that began to form during the Qin and Han dynasties, to the martial arts world that rose and fell during the Tang and Song dynasties, to the modern society where it is difficult to find a way to the martial arts world, the martial arts community has always been a very special group. They are unruly, they pursue freedom, they are loyal and brave. During the past 100 years, China's 9 provinces have risen again from the abyss. The warriors who have been baptized by blood and fire have a deeper understanding of where martial arts should be rooted in order to burst into true brilliance. From the end of the 19th century to the 20th century, and then to this turbulent era, from kneeling to the ground, to saving the nation, and then to today. Perfectly integrated into the martial arts world of China's military and police system, both the older seniors and the younger generations who are just starting out have long since gotten rid of the low-level interests of fame and fortune. Over the past 100 years, times have created heroes, and heroes have also given martial arts a true soul. This was the case with Grandpa Wu of that era, with Li Feilong who shocked the whole world during the changing times, and with many other unknown warriors like them. Chapter 221 League Opening. Please subscribe and vote tilde. The people in front of the TV were listening thoughtfully to what Wu Jiantao said. At this time, the chairman of the Martial Arts Association came on stage to give a speech at the opening ceremony, and the TV camera also focused on the masters who have been very active in the Martial Arts Association in recent years. Hey, that's Ma Yuan. He won the title of Grandmaster in the East Asian Grandmaster Cup Open. I heard that he also participated in this a level leg. That's a master, Jiang Tao. This Ma Yuan should be very strong, right? How does he compare to your uncle? Several girls nearby asked Wu Jiantao. His title of Grandmaster is just a title in the competition circle. Have you ever seen him call himself that in public? Wu Jiantao shook his head. In terms of martial arts level, he is only comparable to me. As for my dad, there is no comparison. In fact, Ma Yuan was very popular in the martial arts world back then. He entered the realm of full power at the age of 34, setting a record for the youngest age to enter the realm of full power in the Chinese martial arts world in the past 100 years. Many seniors were optimistic about him and said that he would definitely be able to enter the realm of full power and even have a chance to enter the last step. Later, Ma Yuan entered the professional competition circle amid the puzzled gazes of the martial arts community. Well, the past decade of professional martial arts competitions has indeed brought him countless honors and fame, making him a popular sports star in the martial arts world, second only to the sports stars in track and field and basketball in recent years. As for football, let's not talk about it. But there are gains and losses. While gaining all these, Ma Yuan's martial arts realm has always remained at the level of entering the circle with whole strength, and he has been unable to enter the realm of transformation. Of course, most of the ordinary viewers in front of the TV do not know and cannot understand what strength is. They know more about the supernatural things such as internal strength, internal skills, the Ren and Du meridians, and acquired and innate abilities in martial arts. In the martial arts world, most people don't have a very good opinion of Ma Yuan, although he argues that he can practice wherever he is, especially the fame and fortune in the professional competition circle, is a good place to hone his will and cultivate his mind. But as Wu Ba said, this is pure bullshit. The skill of the mind is not just words. When he said this in public, it can only mean that. He had long been deeply involved in it and could not extricate himself. In the evening, after watching the opening ceremony of the leg, Chen Jun was a little silent. Because during the opening match, one of the fighting matches scared her a little bit. One had a cracked eye, and the other had a broken rib. The fight between these two star masters was not like a martial arts competition with protective gear, nor was it like an international unlimited fight with more ground techniques. As soon as they started, the two of them burst out with all their strength and rushed towards each other's vital points. No attack or defense, just one move. If you make a mistake in parrying, you will get 10 hits. In this competition, both sides raised the combat level to T0, which does not prohibit attacking any part of the body. The competition under this rule has casualty indicators. This is a narrow road confrontation. They were both star-level masters, and there was no qualitative difference in their reaction speeds, so neither could avoid the other's attack, and therefore, you only need to withstand the opponent's attack, and then you can counterattack. If you don't have the courage to withstand the opponent's attack, you will eventually be chased by a storm. Of course, this match attracted the exclamations of the audience in front of the TV, and as other shots of this duel were constantly replayed, and there were also explanations from the martial arts seniors on the scene. Everyone who watched this game gradually understood the danger of such a game. Many viewers may be worried that such a match is too dangerous. In fact, raising the competition level to T0 is based on the wishes of both parties. As long as one party disagrees, the other party can only proceed according to the T1 rules stipulated by the leg. Under this rule, there may still be some injuries, but it will be much safer than this match. Moreover, once the two competing parties raise the competition level to T0, the organizers will send masters with superb strength to referee. If there is any danger, the referee will immediately take action to stop it. In addition to this competition, there were two other regular T1 level competitions in the opening match. Compared with the dangerous and fast T0 competition, these two competitions were much more exciting and lasted much longer. One of them even lasted 3 rounds before the winner was decided. As expected, the 3 competitions at the opening ceremony set off the entire internet. People in and outside the martial arts community were talking about it. Some cheered, some happily announced that they were fans of the martial arts A-class league, and some questioned whether it was just a show. The list goes on. Before going to bed, Wu Jiantao finally noticed that his wife was in a bad mood and asked her what was wrong. "I'm just a little worried." Although her husband had promised her that he would not adjust the competition level, even if he had a grudge against his opponent, there was still a risk of injury, even in a T1 level competition. In order to ensure that the contestants can devote themselves fully and avoid injuries, not only are the referees on the stage star-level masters of the same level, but there are also masters of the highest level specially invited by the competition officials to come over to the stage to keep the peace. There are strong people with great strength. When there is danger on the stage, they can appear on the stage in an instant and stop the dangerous actions. Of course, this is often the time when the winner of the competition is already decided. "It's okay, don't worry. You have to believe in your husband's strength." Wu Jiantao was also somewhat helpless and kept comforting her. The night is getting deeper. At the end of October, as the opening date of the 5 major competition areas of the Chinese Martial Arts A-Level League approached, the day for Wu Jiantao and Chen Jun to return to City F also arrived. Well, Li Xiaoshan, Bai Xiaoyuan and Lu Zhou went back a few days ago. After all, they are very busy with work. Even during the days they came to Kyoto, they had to check on the progress of the research project at the institute from time to time at night. It is worth mentioning that Mr. Mo and Mr. Chen also came back from Q City and prescribed some tonic medicines for pregnancy maintenance, moxibustion therapy, and the 5 animal exercises that Mr. Wu had specially adjusted according to Mr. Mo's physical condition. Well, pregnant CEO Mo and Dad Chen plan to return to their hometown during the pregnancy. After all, Grandpa and Grandma Chen are here, and they can help make soup and cook for CEO Mo. The key point is that Wu Jiantao has also been here during this period. He can not only help Ms. Mo with her personal dietary adjustments, but also give her a lot of guidance on the practice of the 5 animal exercises. That morning, Wu Jiantao and Chen Jun got up very early as usual, but unlike usual, they did not put on sportswear to go out for a run, but came downstairs with their luggage. Chapter 222, Come Back and Ask for Subscription and Monthly Ticket tilde. As soon as they arrived in the yard, they saw Grandma Chen bringing a pot of fragrant fried buns from the kitchen and putting it on the dining table. "Ninny, come here. Grandma made fried dumplings this morning. Come and sit down." As the departure was imminent, Chen Jun actually had no appetite, but she still smiled and sat down, took a sip of the soy milk on the table, then picked up a pan-fried bun and started to eat breakfast. After breakfast, the two of them finally walked out of the house with the baby in their arms, and Grandma Chen and Grandpa Chen also saw them off. Along the way, they kept staring at Chen Jun, and the two babies kept looking at them. Chen Jun's eyes slightly turned red when she saw that look. What were these two old people doing? I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to see her again in the future, so I kept watching her and the two babies. Walking in the alley that was so familiar to her, Chen Jun couldn't help crying, which made Grandma Chen say that she was already a mother of 2 children, but she was still so fond of crying. The distance from the door to the outside of the alley in the community is not long, although the girl hoped that the road could be longer so that she could spend more time with her grandparents. She saw Chen's father jogging out when she arrived outside the community. "Dad." Seeing him appear, Chen Jun and Wu Jiantao were a little surprised and called out quickly. Looking at his daughter and son-in-law, Chen Chu felt a little reluctant. "Be careful on the road and take good care of the 2 babies." "I will." The special car arrived. Chen Jun looked back reluctantly at his grandparents and father. Finally, he got into the car and kept waving at them. Go back. Come back more often when you have time, Ninny, and give us a video call when you get there, okay?" "Okay, I know, you guys go back." Tears were streaming down her cheeks uncontrollably. At this moment, she really regretted why she had argued with her mother and chosen to go to university in M Province, the southernmost province in China. "With my grades back then, I could have been admitted to Kyoto University or Tsinghua University. But," with tears in her eyes, she snuggled up to Wu Jiantao. If she hadn't gone to M University, she wouldn't have met him, right? Every sip and every bite is predestined. The car drove away, and Chen Jun turned around and could still see the 3 familiar figures standing there, looking at them from afar. Wu Jiantao's first match in the Southeast Division qualifiers of the Huaxia Martial Arts League A came sooner than expected. Unfortunately, their opponent was just a team from a sect in Province Z. Although they were all star-level masters, they were far inferior to Yuan Huang. He was alone, but he almost beat 3 opponents at once. However, even though my cousin had the ability to do so, he didn't do it, leaving a way out for us to meet again in the future. The Deputy General of the Tiger Roar team is the captain of the F-City Longyun Guard team. He also defeated 3 of his opponent's generals. After the fight, he came down and did not take over the battle of 4 generals, giving Wu Jiantao a chance to go on stage and fight. Well, Wu Jiantao won easily. The 4 generals of the opponent team were only warriors at the whole strength level and were no match for him at all. This match was watched by Wu Dad, Wu Mom, senior brothers and sisters in Q City, as well as Chen's family far away in Kyoto. They had hoped that he would have a wonderful match, but they didn't expect that the opponent was so weak that he was defeated in just 2 or 3 moves. In fact, this is the norm in competitions. It is rare to find evenly matched teams and opponents. By the way, the Tiger Roar team from Province M is one of the seeded teams in the Southeast Division. In the competition among 8 teams in 2 groups, their strength is definitely among the best, and their strength is naturally impressive. At 9:03 in Yunlu Community, Chen Jun, who watched the game, also breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that this game was not difficult for her husband. As soon as the competition ended that day, Wu Jiantao left the stadium, where the martial arts competition was held, and drove home. Well, there is nothing to review about today's game. As for the other strong opponent in the group stage, they will have a game tomorrow. I will see if I want to come and watch then. Maybe you could bring your wife over to take a look. Forget it, the 2 babies are still too young, so let's not let them go. I can just let my cousin broadcast the event live and I can watch it at home. Anyway, the live broadcast will use high-speed cameras, and many details about the competition can be presented one by one. Just don't miss the post-match seminar. With this thought in mind, Wu Jiantao took out his cell phone. On the other side, Yuan Huang, who was still at the competition, yawned out of boredom as he watched the martial arts competition on the stage that had no research value. Ding dong. The phone rang. He picked it up and looked at it. Then his mouth twitched and he immediately replied, "You said you wouldn't be at the scene for other games after today's game, but why aren't you coming tomorrow?" Wu black question mark face. "Wu, no, you guys are still there. I just took a look at them, and I feel like the other team is about the same as our opponent today, or even worse. I am ugly, but I am gentle. We stayed here not mainly to watch the competition and study our opponents. there seems to be a fugitive among the audience watching the competition. The command center is comparing him through the Sky Eye observation system, and it is estimated that he is almost certain. Wu Zhe. I'm ugly, but I'm gentle. Originally, I wanted you to participate in this mission, but you left anyway, forget it. One more person is more, one more person is less. Woo hee hee, if I'm missing, you'll get less mission bonus, right? I am ugly, but I am gentle. People are in a difficult situation, but their expressions are not revealed. As Wu Jiantao participated in the first-class martial arts league, before he knew it, the two babies were 6 months old. The days of taking care of two babies are really painful and happy, although Wu Jiantao and Chen Jun have tried their best to be good parents. After all, it is the first time for both of them to take on the role, and they will always encounter various problems. Especially recently, during the period of adding complementary food, the two babies had colic, which is a kind of growing pain. It was the first time for Chen Jun and Wu Jiantao to encounter it, because the two babies woke up crying at night again and had to be held in order to fall asleep. Fortunately, Wu Jiantao made a video call with his grandfather in time, and under his guidance, he massaged the two babies' tummies and some acupoints. At the same time, he temporarily stopped feeding the babies with complementary foods and continued to feed them with pure breast milk, and would add complementary foods after a few days. The old man was worthy of being an old man. As soon as he helped, the colic of the two babies improved and they recovered quickly. Wu Jiantao also carefully made rice porridge again. Chapter 223, A Crucial Battle. Please subscribe and vote for me. When adding complementary foods, Wu Jiantao made a mistake. He started by giving the baby porridge and whole porridge, to which he added finely chopped meat and carrots. In fact, this is generally no problem. After all, the baby is 6 months old, and he did so according to the advice of the chief physician of the second hospital. I just didn't expect that the baby would have colic at this time. Fortunately, they were treated in time and didn't have diarrhea. When adding complementary foods, Wu Jiantao did not dare to give the babies porridge anymore. Instead, he started with rice paste and flour paste, and added a small amount of yam powder to soothe the stomachs of the two babies. When he added complementary food for the second time, he was very careful when feeding the baby, fearing that Daodu and Mayomia would have other problems again. Fortunately, the two little ones were fine, and enjoyed their meal happily without crying. Well, there is a certain order for adding complementary foods to babies. If the addition of complementary foods fails, it can easily cause malnutrition in the baby or a serious decrease in appetite. After the babies got used to the rice porridge in 1 or 2 weeks, Wu Jiantao tried to add some minced meat and chopped vegetables to it. Of course, it was not just that. He also carefully prepared egg yolks, vegetable puree, and fruit puree. This was probably the first time for the two babies to taste food other than breast milk. Every time he came over with a small bowl of rice, the two little guys were very happy, and their little hands and feet kept fluttering while sitting in the baby chair. Now the two babies eat milk about 3 times a day, 2 main meals and 1 fruit. Fruits are usually made into puree, but not necessarily. For example, Chen Jun sometimes just picks up an apple and uses an iron spoon to scoop out the puree and juice to feed them. On the Saturday morning of the last week of December, the Tiger Roar team from Province M finally faced the last battle of the level league qualifying competition. Today, Zhang Tao's team's opponent actually has Grandmaster Ma Yuan. Bai Zioyuan and Li Xiaoshan, who had gathered at Yunlu Garden 903, watched the two teams begin to appear on TV. When the commentator excitedly called out one of the players' names, the audience in the arena at the live broadcast site were all excited. Ma Yuan, we will win. Ma Yuan, we will win. The sound even reached the ears of the audience sitting in front of the TV, showing that Ma Yuan is quite popular. It has to be high. Since joining the league, Grandmaster Ma Yuan has been in amazing form. He knocks out his opponents cleanly and efficiently in every competition. You know, most of those standing on the competition stage in the level league are star masters. His performance in the league also attracted the attention of seniors and opponents in the martial arts world. The fact that there is such a huge gap shows that Ma Yuan is indeed worthy of his reputation. At least, he is among the top among star-level masters. In the camp of star masters, although everyone is in the state of whole strength into a circle, and the strength can be transformed freely into light and dark, it is still a confrontation and competition of strength. No matter how high the skill of transforming light and dark strength is, it will be difficult to deal with if the essence of strength is inferior to others. There are competitions where those who lack strength rely on skills to defeat their opponents, but in the preliminaries and district rankings, in the 5 major regions across the country, 90% of the battles are won by the stronger party. The 3 generals of the Union Temple team in Province Z are just 3 generals. In front of the TV, Li Ziaoshan looked at the members of the Union Temple team with some curiosity. Well, the commander and the deputy commander were both wearing blue and white monk uniform, with shiny bald heads and ordination scars on their heads. Zhao Jun, this ranking of the main general, deputy general, third general, and fourth general is usually based on strength, right? Almost the same, but the gap between them won't be that big. Chen Jun nodded. She had also heard a lot about the league teams from Wu Jiangtao. For example, my husband is in the Tiger Roar team. When he is in good form at the seminar, he has surpassed the deputy general several times. The team is now considering promoting him to the deputy general position. If he is not in good form, he will return to the position of the third general. Oh, those. Li Ziaoshan and Bai Xiaoyuan nodded. Just as they were staring at the TV, the doorbell rang suddenly. Chen Jun quickly got up and went to open the door. When I opened the door, I saw that it was Wu Ma. Mom! She was a little surprised. There was a traffic jam on the road. I almost missed it. Has the boys' game started yet? The live broadcast has just started, and the competition hasn't started yet. Well, Wu Ma hurriedly took the various mountain products and the duck she had slaughtered at home to the kitchen, put everything away with her daughter-in-law, and then turned around and sat down in the living room. Chen Jun went to the kitchen again, poured a cup of passion lemon tea for her mother-in-law, and placed it in front of her. Okay, stop busying yourself. The game is about to begin. Amid the loud introduction of the host, the main generals of the Tiger Roar team, Yuan Huang, and the main generals of the Union Temple team have already stood on the arena. Today's opponent is not easy. Wu Ma looked at the two young men on the ring. The camera gave them their facial features, showing the coldness on their faces very clearly, and said lightly, "Now China is also planning a title match, and the invited players will be masters above the level of transformation, Kueis at grandmasters, and even grandmasters. Wu Jiangtao is not even qualified to know about this. Only masters at the level of Wu Ma and Wu Ba can get access to this. Competitions and matches at this level involve too many things, especially the interests of various sects across the country. Therefore, the strength level of this A-level league is limited to star-level masters at most." In front of the TV, everyone was staring at the screen excitedly, afraid of missing the wonderful shots. Only Chen Jun could not help but clench her hands on her knees. Compared with winning or losing, she was more worried that her husband would get injured in this game. With the referee's announcement, the competition begins. Almost as soon as the bell rang, Yuan Huang and the commander of Union Temple, who were standing opposite each other, stomped their feet suddenly and turned into two extremely fast figures rushing towards each other. At the same time, the whole stage shook violently, and the fences protecting the audience shook. Bang! The sound of violent collision spread across the arena. 10 years of hard work off stage, only 1 minute on stage. Soon, the first two competitions were over. Oh, what a pity. The Tiger Roar team is quite tenacious. They had 1 draw and 1 loss in the first 2 matches. On the internet, netizens who were watching the live broadcast posted various comments online. The prediction before the game was that the Tiger Roar team would be defeated 0-3. I have to say that Yuan Huang from the Tiger Roar team really surprised us. He had been hiding his true strength in the previous matches, but he suddenly exploded in this match. It's the 3 generals' turn to fight. Ma Yuan will win. Ma Yuan will win. Transition plot, the timeline will be faster, and the baby will be 1 year old soon. Chapter 224, Sensation. Please subscribe and vote . Whether on the internet or at the competition site, the surging waves of cheers instantly hit, and everyone was full of passion, looking forward to Ma Yuan giving them an extremely exciting competition. Well, of course it's exciting to win against your opponent. I'm on stage. Wu Jiangtao, who was at the scene, sent a WeChat message to Chen Jun just as he was about to put his phone aside. He saw a voice message from his wife, and he opened it casually. "Hubby, come on, you can definitely win." Hearing Chen Jun's gentle but firm voice, his heart warmed slightly, but he did not reply because the host on the stage in front was already calling his name. Next, we have the 3rd general from the Tiger Roar team, Wu Jiangtao, a talented martial artist who has set a record for the youngest age to become a star master in our Chinese martial arts world. Let us welcome him with warm applause. Wu Jiangtao walked out of the passage with a calm expression and stepped into the fighting arena, which was as big as a basketball court. Unlike ordinary boxing rings, this ring is not on a platform, but is the lowest in the venue, while the audience seats around it are arranged from low to high so that they can clearly see the situation when they fight. As they walked through the passage, Yuan Huang, who was in the rest area beside the ring, said to him, "Cousin, don't hide your abilities. I don't want to lose in the district ranking match. I'd rather rush into the main tournament as the first place." "Good." Wu Jiantao turned his head and glanced at him. Soon he stood on the ring, and at this time his opponent Ma Yuankai appeared at the entrance of the passage belatedly after the referee introduced him with a bunch of lengthy titles. Hua. Ma Yuan, Ma Yuan. Ma Yuan gave people a very strong visual impact as soon as he appeared. He was 1.9 meters tall, with bulging muscles all over his body. His upper body was a perfect inverted triangle, and his legs looked very long. Is this a man in his 40s? With this physique and figure, I wonder how much stronger he is than many young guys. For a moment, many girls at the competition site and in front of the TV screamed. This guy walked towards the ring while waving to the audience around him. From time to time, he stretched out his hand and shook hands with a few lucky spectators nearby. There were audiences everywhere with their mobile phone cameras pointed at him, constantly taking photos or videos. Dab tab. With steady steps, Ma Yuan finally came to a distance of 10 feet in front of Wu Jiantao and began to size up this opponent. From the previous matches, his performance was not very outstanding, just average, and he did not show the demeanor of a martial arts genius. Even if he had hidden weaknesses, it was unlikely that he would have the strength to compete with him. Even though he had made some progress in recent years, with the help of various advanced training equipment and training, his physical strength had reached the top level among star-level warriors. Except for those who had begun to reach the level of Hua Jin, it could be said that no one could be his opponent. By the way, the two big monks who are ranked ahead of Ma Yuan in the team of Star Warriors and Yuan Huang from the Tiger Roar team are masters who have begun to touch the realm of transformation. There are only a handful of such masters in the current 11 league. Ma Yuan was very confident about his own strength. As long as he didn't face anyone strong enough at this level, he would be able to remain undefeated. Standing on the stage, he looked at this overly young man with some curiosity, without saying a word, and without wasting any words to interfere with him. There's no need for that. With my current fame, just standing here can cause tremendous psychological pressure on the other party, right? Ma Yuan thought calmly. The competition begins. As soon as he finished speaking, he immediately moved, leaping up and punching the young opponent fiercely towards the neck. Seeing this scene, the referee on the side immediately tensed up and was ready to stop him at any time. But at this critical moment, the young man on the opposite side did not retreat, but instead took half a step forward, clenched his right fist from his waist, and rushed out from the center line. Wu family's Xinyiquan half-step collapse. This. The referee's eyes narrowed, and he was about to come over to stop the two moves that would hurt both of them, when an old voice came from the earphones in his ears. No need. Bang, the sound of the explosion spread, but Wu Jiantao stood firmly, while Ma Yuan's was stunned and staggered back. His boxing stance was broken. At the critical moment, Wu Jiantao naturally could not let it go. He followed closely and pushed forward with another palm. Hateful. Ma Yuan tried his best to stabilize his center of gravity. Facing the opponent's palm, he could only bend his elbows and cross them in front of his chest again. Bang! There was another teeth-grinding collision sound. This time, Ma Yuan was unable to stand and was knocked out. He fell to the ground and turned into a rolling gourd. Before he could react, his opponent threw another punch at him, stopping just in front of his temple. The referee appeared in time, helped Ma Yuan, who was still a little confused on the ground, up, and then raised Wu Jiantao's right hand. In the third battle, Wu Jiantao wins. The scene that was full of cheers just now, as well as Ma Yuan's fans in front of the TV, suddenly fell silent. Such a domineering force. As expected, he is a genius who has created the record for the youngest age to enter the circle of whole energy in the past 100 years. This kind of energy is simply inhuman. Offstage, the martial arts masters of the referee group were discussing the matter. Meanwhile, reporters from the sports and entertainment circles were also going crazy, swarming to the entrance to interview Wu Jiantao. Wu Jiantao is popular again. Unlike his previous popularity due to being attacked online, this time, his popularity is more positive. When the results of the competition were presented to everyone, both the audience in front of the TV and the netizens on the internet were all stunned. When they reacted, they searched for more information about this young man named Wu Jiantao. While the outside world was frantically searching for information about him, the media from all sides also heard the news and flocked to M University, seeking further interviews and in-depth understanding of him. 1 in a million, a martial arts genius, once in a millennium. Surpassing Ma Yuan, he told everyone what a true genius is. A martial arts genius is actually married. Just as various media and sects from all over the outside world were paying attention to this martial arts genius, he did not step forward to respond, nor did he agree to any further interview requests from any media, nor did he accept invitations from many TV programs or online media. Regarding these, Wu Jiantao asked the Tiger Roar team to block all of them. At the same time, he also specifically requested the Tiger Roar team and M University to unify and not reveal his residence. When interviewed by reporters after the game, he also said lightly that he did not want to be disturbed in his personal life other than work. Chapter 225, The Wedding is Coming. Please subscribe and vote for the monthly ticket. M University was happy to see his request come true, because Wu Jiantao's attitude fully demonstrated that he had no intention of crossing over to the martial arts world and getting involved in the entertainment industry. In this way, M University would also become the end of Wu Jiantao's attention from all media. Well, nowadays, various media, especially those in the entertainment industry, have been rectified and have become very disciplined in protecting personal privacy. Almost few dare to risk ending their careers early by snooping into a celebrity's privacy. What's more, Wu Jiantao is not an ordinary person, but a star warrior. If someone is really crazy enough to follow him and secretly take photos of him, this may result in you being invited to have tea with the security bureau. However, there is still trouble. Just like now, Wu Jiantao, who had just arrived home, received a call from an unfamiliar number. Chen Jun came over and took over his work backpack with a smile. Inside was a martial arts uniform and shoes. Well, for a profession like his, a pair of shoes might be destroyed after one fight. In fact, they don't have to wear them during the game, but their Tiger Roar team accepted the advertising fees from this martial arts shoe chain brand, and he also took a lot of share, so of course they have to wear them. Hello, are you Mr. Wu Jiantao? Hello, this is the person in charge of the company. I would like to invite you to endorse our company's products. I wonder if you are interested. Oh, I need to see before making a decision. Of course, could you please give me your email address? I'll send you some information about our company and products. Okay, my personal email address is... After hanging up the phone, Wu Jiantao walked into the living room tiredly, sat on the sofa, and let out a breath. It wasn't easy. After defeating Ma Yuan in this morning's match, he didn't leave the ring, but stood on the ring to accept the challenge of his 4 opponents. Don't think that he had exploded 3 times in the previous 3 general battle, which seemed easy, but in fact he had suffered a lot of damage. Only 60% to 70% of his peak strength was left. After all, the 4 generals of Union Temple were also star warriors. The fight between him and his opponent lasted for more than 4 minutes before Wu Jiantao seized a flaw in the opponent and won the 4th match. He had to stay on the stage because the Tiger Roar team's lineup was not strong enough. The 4th general was just a full-strength warrior who was there purely to make up the numbers. After 2 rounds of competition, even Wu Jiantao, who was in good physical condition, felt drained. Mom came over today and said you must be very tired from the competition today, so she's cooking in the kitchen. Chen Jun hung his backpack on the rack on the side of the entrance hall and smiled at her husband, who didn't want to move on the sofa. Are you tired? Have a good rest. I'll go to the kitchen to take a look. But before she could turn around, she felt someone pulling her hand, and then she was thrown into an extremely familiar embrace. Hey, what are you doing? Mom is in the kitchen. Give me a hug to recharge. What? How about let me charge you? Wu Jiantao bit her ear and said with a wicked smile. What? Chen Jun's face suddenly turned red and she glared at him in reproach. She was about to break free from his embrace, but she saw her husband laughing, standing up, and turning to walk towards the kitchen. Ha ha ha, okay, let me cook. I still have some strength left. What? While eating dinner, Wu Ma would turn her head from time to time to look at the 2 little ones lying in the crib with a fence in the living room, holding the bottle filled with their mother's milk and eating happily. Well, this milk was squeezed out when Chen Jun had excess milk during the confinement period and stored in the freezer. Now the 2 babies have increased their appetite a lot, and although Chen Jun still has a lot of milk, she is beginning to feel pressure, so she uses the stored milk to make up for it. It seems that Xiaojun still needs to eat some fish soup, pig's trotters, etc. She has been a little neglectful recently, and her milk production seems to be a little low. Wu Jiantao muttered to himself. Wu Ma, who was sitting across the table, nodded in agreement. Chen Jun's pretty face turned slightly red. Although Wu Jiantao was very tired today, the dishes in the evening were as delicious as always. The 3 of them were more focused on eating and didn't talk much. At the dinner table, Wu Ma was full. She put down her bowl and chopsticks and said hesitantly, Xiao Tao, If there was a younger brother or sister at home, would you mind? Puff. Wu Jiantao, who had just taken a sip of soup, almost spit it out. He looked at his mother in shock. Mom, you don't want to tell me that you are pregnant now, do you? What are you thinking about? Wu Ma reached out her hand and slapped him. Of course not, I didn't ask for your opinion. Wu Jiantao looked at his mother speechlessly. He seriously suspected that it was because a few months ago, when the pregnant Mo went to his hometown to seek treatment from Grandpa Wu, his mother and father had started to think about this when they saw her like this. How about you give me a definite answer? I have no objection. I have no objection if you want a brother or sister. Wu Jiantao naturally had no objection and agreed directly. Actually, both Mom and Dad Wu are still a little hesitant about whether to have a second child. With their current physical condition, it would be absolutely no problem for them to have another child. They could even bring one themselves. The reason why I want to have another child is because the older one has already set up his own house, and now outside the house all he has to do is take care of the martial arts school, and it's bound to be a bit lonely with just the two of them at home. I hesitated mainly because of my eldest son's feelings. Seeing that her son agreed, Wu's mother breathed a sigh of relief. In fact, Wu's father was not very supportive of having a second baby. Well, the psychological trauma caused by that person's hateful and evil behavior has not yet dissipated. If her son also has objections, then Wu Ma's idea of having another child will most likely be dashed. Naturally, Chen Jun would not have any objection. As for family property, she had never cared about it. Well, she could earn it herself. If you want it, just take it. If the four little ones play mahjong together at home next year. It might be a bit noisy. Wu Ma came to 903 and stayed for 2 days, helping to look after the two little ones, and then went back. Before they knew it, the end of the year was approaching, and there was less than a week left until Wu Jiantao and Chen Jun's wedding. In the middle of the year, the Wu and Chen families discussed and decided that both sides would hold a party, with the man's side holding the first, and then they would go to Chen Jun's hometown in Kyoto to hold another one. Chapter 226, Wedding Dress. Please subscribe and vote tilde. On the first weekend of January, Mr. Mo, who was pregnant, flew all the way from Kyoto to City F to personally give his daughter a custom-made wedding dress, wedding ring, and necklace. As for the gold, the in-laws would prepare it. After all, it was her daughter who was getting married, and it would be a bit unreasonable if the Chen family had to prepare the gold. By the way, Wu Jiantao's wedding dress was also brought here. Here, these are the two styles you like. According to your request, we don't want Western styles, but our Chinese classical dresses. One is a phoenix crown and a bridal robe, and the other is a colorful skirt. Try them on. As soon as they arrived at 903, Mo Wan asked the designers and staff who followed her to take out the well-packed dresses, and the scene became a mess. But Chen Jun didn't go to look at the dress right away. Instead, she pulled her mother to sit down and looked at her with some anger. Mom, didn't I tell you not to bring it over in person? You're 5 months pregnant. Be careful not to get too tired. It's okay. I've been taking good care of myself these past few months. I practice the 5 animals exercises every day, and I've even consulted a nutritionist about my diet. I've also asked the old man. Mom, even so, you don't have to personally take care of the dress and personally fly it over. Where's my dad? Okay, he's here too, behind me. As he was talking, the doorbell rang. Wu Jiantao hurried over to open the door, only to see his father-in-law holding some fruit. Dad, what are you doing? He was about to say, you guys just come over, why do you need to buy some fruit? But just as he was about to say it, he immediately remembered that the fruit might not be for him, and Chen Jun sure enough. Then Father Chen smiled and said, Isn't it that your mother suddenly wants to eat guava and kiwi? Let me go buy some. Wu Jiantao also knew that when his pregnant mother came over some time ago, she suddenly wanted to eat something, and she had to eat it. Then she would often go out to buy food for herself, very late at night. During those days, Wu Ma took them to eat supper for several days in a row. Sometimes it was spicy hot pot, sometimes it was braised noodles, and sometimes it was various fruits. Most of these foods were things that Wu Jiantao couldn't make in a short time. He was also very curious and asked if it was the same when his wife was pregnant, and got a very positive answer. On the other side, in the master bedroom, the female designer who designed the wedding dresses for Chen Jun and Wu Jiantao was watching her 2 assistants putting on the dress for Chen Jun. Ms. Chen, I can't believe you have the body shape you need after having 2 babies. She looked at Chen Jun, who had almost put on her dress, and said with admiration, Can you share how you got back in shape? Like Chen Jun, she has also met clients who held weddings after having children. However, the belly and figure of each of those clients are really hard to describe, so her dress design has to compromise again and again, and she failed to give the client the desired effect. However, she cannot blame the client for this result and can only patiently make changes according to the client's requirements. At the end of the revision, whether the customer realizes it is their fault or not, the final answer is basically, well, it's a good revision, let's use the original version. After much difficulty, Chen Jun finally put on her first dress with a phoenix crown and a bridal robe. She wore the ceremonial crown and the baixilu embroidered with phoenixes. Her gauze skirt fell to the ground under the manipulation of two assistants beside her. Chen Jun frowned and touched his waist. It feels a little loose here. As she spoke, she gently pulled it, making a space. The female designer, who was a little stunned by her, said quickly, "Don't worry, I just came here to try it out today. These are the reserved spaces. I will cut it again later to make it fit your body better. Come on, let's go out and show it to your husband and family." As Chen Jun turned around and was about to walk out, gently lifting the sides of her skirt, a designer assistant came over and handed her a round fan embroidered with a phoenix. "We'll help you hold the skirt from behind. Ms. Chen, just hold the fan with both hands like this." Immediately, the female designer was in the front, Chen Jun was in the middle, and the two assistants lifted the skirts that were dragging on the ground from the back and walked out. As soon as they came out, Wu Jiantao, Father Chen, and Director Mo, who were resting and talking in the living room, heard the noise immediately. They stood up and turned around to look, and they were all stunned. What a nice view. Looking at his wife holding a round fan embroidered with a phoenix in her hand, wearing a phoenix coronet and a bridal robe, this extremely grand red dress seems to be shining at this moment. This grand red dress makes her skin look whiter than snow, like white jade. Her big eyes looking at her are even more pure and clear, and her every frown and smile is breathtaking. This scene is truly one where the dark eyebrows are as charming as the distant mountain, and the phoenix hair is thickly dyed with spring smoke. Seeing the reactions of her husband, father, and mother, Chen Jun was a little puzzled. She looked at the dress she was wearing with some doubt. Was there anything wrong with it? "It looks good, I'll choose this one. It looks really good." Wu Jiantao was a little incoherent at this moment, while Director Mo walked forward with shining eyes and looked his daughter up and down. Very good, very good. It's just that the waist needs to be adjusted. Mr. Mo, I have made note of this problem. I will fix it right away after I try it on today. After I fix it, I will come over again and try it on with your daughter one last time until there are no more problems. Okay. Next, Chen Jun tried the second set recommended by the designer, which also made her look like a fairy who was not in touch with the world. Wu Jiantao was in a dilemma. In the end, it was Mr. Mo who decided to take both sets, as both parties were going to hold an event. In the scene at Wu Jiantao's hometown, she wore a dress with a phoenix coronet and a bridal robe, and in the scene at Chen Jun's hometown, she wore a colorful feather skirt. In addition, these two dresses also have simple versions. Otherwise, it would be inconvenient to wear such complicated dresses when toasting and meeting other elders in the family after the wedding ceremony. The most important thing is that the bride also has to eat, and she can't eat in this dress, right? When Chen Jun was trying on clothes, Wu Jiantao naturally didn't fall behind and tried on his 3 suits. They were also very nice. He looked energetic after putting them on. The 1.8-meter tall body of a star warrior and his bass-like voice. That is definitely a walking hormone. Chapter 227, We Are Getting Married. Please subscribe and give me a monthly ticket, tilde. Chapter 227, The Wedding is Coming. Please subscribe and vote tilde. Wu Jiantao and Chen Jun, who had changed into their dresses, stood together. Mr. Mo and Chen's father took out their mobile phones and kept taking pictures, while the designer picked up the professional SLR camera he brought with him and asked the young couple, who were about to get married, to find a few places in the house, strike a few poses, and take several pictures. As a designer, her photography skills are naturally not bad. These photos have the texture of wedding photos. Speaking of wedding photos, more than 3 months before returning from Kyoto, Wu Jiantao and Chen Jun went to the store where they had agreed to take wedding photos. After the photos were taken, they sent the electronic version of the photos, the album and the wedding photos, to hang in their home a few days ago and hung them in their wedding room. As the wedding date approached, all kinds of chores came flooding in, especially the decoration of the wedding room inside and outside, upstairs and downstairs in his hometown. He also needed to review the guest list because he had also invited many old classmates from the same village, as well as university classmates who were close to him in the same class. Oh, and his colleagues in the Tiger Roar team, etc. He also needed to add them to the list. All kinds of things like this were very complicated. I thought having a baby and raising it was troublesome enough, but I didn't expect getting married would be so troublesome. Of course, it was mainly because they had to take care of 2 babies while attending to all matters related to the wedding. Fortunately, Chen Jun only paid attention to the layout of the wedding room and made some requests, but did not interfere too much in the wedding banquet and wedding scene, otherwise Wu Jiantao would have a headache. It's better to hire a wedding company, otherwise there will be more trouble. 2 days later, they tried on their wedding dresses for the last time. After confirming that there were no problems, Wu Jiantao immediately packed the dresses they would wear for the wedding, packed the family's luggage, and took his wife and baby on the journey home. The wedding in their hometown was not held at Wu Jiantao's home because the venue was not big enough. At the suggestion of the wedding company, Wu's parents finally decided to hold the wedding at the Wu Family Martial Arts Hall. This way, the entire venue is large enough. Well, the entire scene was arranged according to the classical Oriental wedding ceremony, but the process was simplified compared to the extremely cumbersome processes of the past, such as stepping over the fire basin. When they got home in the morning, Wu's mother was upstairs taking care of the 2 babies, while Wu Jiantao, Chen Jun, and Wu's father were downstairs discussing the various procedures of the wedding with the people from the wedding company. As for the bride picking part, wedding reception. The newlyweds were stunned when they heard this and couldn't help looking at each other. The bride is already at the house. Do they still need to pick her up? Is this no longer needed? Chen Jun said a little embarrassedly, my hometown is in Kyoto, which is very far away. Oh, that's not what I meant. The planner of the wedding company said, because your wedding is at the martial arts hall, the bride can actually stay at home, and the bridesmaids can block the bride's arrival and play some wedding games. This way, the whole wedding will be more lively and interesting. After a pause, he continued, and according to our customs, when picking up the bride, the groom has to offer tea to his father-in-law and mother-in-law, and then the bride's parents have to give red envelopes. This etiquette is also very important. It's just like the bride offering tea to her father-in-law and mother-in-law after picking up the bride, and the 2 elders also give red envelopes. Oh, Chen Jun frowned slightly. Let's keep this etiquette at home, simplify the whole process as much as possible, and omit the bride picking games if possible. Well, there are 2 little babies. Although my parents can help take care of them, if the 2 babies make a fuss, she will have to come. The whole wedding process cannot be too long. As for Wu Jiantao, he will definitely not be free at that time. There is another problem. Because this is actually the wedding room, it is a bit impolite. If possible, the bride will be in another room. When they heard about these etiquettes, both Wu Jiantao and Chen Jun felt a little overwhelmed. From the time they just discussed the entire wedding process to now, they have heard this word several times. Okay, then let's do as you say. Wu Jiantao waved his hands repeatedly. As for the procedures now, as long as it does not cause obstacles to the wedding, we should simplify it as much as possible. Just like what you just said, you can arrange it. As for how to decorate this room, you can arrange it. Keep everything simple. After all, we have 2 babies to take care of at home now. Our principle is that we can't ignore taking care of 2 babies because of this wedding. I don't care about what etiquette is. It doesn't apply in front of them, do you understand? The father next to him was slightly stunned when he heard this, and couldn't help but turn his head to look at his son. Good, this kid is very clear-headed. Forehead. Hearing this, the planner of the wedding company was stunned. In the past, no matter what he said, most of the newlyweds would agree with him no matter what the other party's situation was. Even some people who had children at the wedding did not speak like Wu Jiantao. He nodded repeatedly. Okay, the entire wedding process, from picking up the bride to the wedding at the martial arts hall, and then to the bride entering the bridal chamber, we will try to control it within 2 hours. Okay. After a few more days of hard work, the wedding room and the upstairs and downstairs decorations were finally completed, and the day of the wedding finally arrived. Boom! Amid a roar, a plane from Kyoto landed at an airport in the far suburbs of Q City. Chen Chu, Grandpa Chen, 4th Uncle Chen Jun, and several relatives from the Mo family got off the plane. Well, originally Mo Wan insisted on coming here in person, but Chen Chu tried her best to persuade her not to. Although the baby in her belly is only 5 months old, her belly is already very big, and her age is there, so it is really not suitable for her to take a plane and travel back and forth like this. Moreover, Mo Wan has not given up her work at Feiyan Group yet, and is still working remotely at home. This alone made Chen Chu and the 2 elders of the Chen family feel that it was not appropriate, but after her repeated requests and assurances that she would have a good rest, they did not insist on letting her give up her work at the group. The group of people from the Chen and Mo families walked through the airport passage. As soon as they exited the station, they saw a few young people not far away, holding a sign that read President Chen Chu. Similarly, the brothers and sisters from the Wu Family Martial Arts School, who came to greet them, also saw them, and hurriedly came over with a smile, introduced themselves very enthusiastically, and then took them out of the airport and took the prepared business car to Wu Jiangtao's hometown. At almost the same time, at the Q City railway station, Wu Jiangtao's roommates Peng Long, Nang Yi, and Xiao Wu, as well as several classmates with whom he had a good relationship, and his colleagues from the Tiger Roar team also walked out of the railway station together. Under the arrangement of the senior brothers from the Wu Family Martial Arts School who came to greet them, they boarded the bus. Chapter 228, The Wedding is in Progress. Please subscribe and vote for me, Tilda. This is my first time visiting Jiang Tao's home. I think this place is nice, there's such a big tree. When getting off the bus, what caught everyone's eyes was a huge banyan tree that had existed for hundreds of years. In front of the banyan tree stood a large archway decorated with lights, and a banner hanging on it that read, "Congratulations to the groom Wu Jiangtao and the bride Chen Jun of the Wu family on their wedding." At the same time, there were many lanterns with the word Chinese letter printed on them hanging on the tree. Standing under the tree and looking at them, it felt very pleasing. Wow, this is quite a show. Nonsense, how can it not be big? Don't you see who Jiangtao married? That's Chen Jun. They were walking with Wu Jiangtao's colleagues from the Tiger Roar team. When they arrived under the tree, they saw Wu Jiangtao, who was dressed elegantly and looked very handsome, and Chen Jun, who was wearing a simple phoenix crown and bridal robe with her hands crossed in front of her. They were standing there with a smile, and together with Wu's father and mother, who were also dressed in formal clothes, they were greeting the guests who had arrived. Fat Dragon, Xiao Wu, and Uncle Nong. Wu Jiangtao saw his college classmates and colleagues from the Tiger Roar team from afar and hurried over to greet them. Chen Jun also smiled at them. She had been smiling since around 8 in the morning until almost 11 o'clock, and she felt that her face was stiff from smiling. At Wu Jiangtao's signal, they walked under the tree, followed the arch and signposts on the road, and walked towards Wushan Mountain where the wedding was held. When they arrived at the foot of the mountain, Wu Jiangtao and his college classmates were all stunned. Is his home on the mountain? It shouldn't be. Just go up and take a look and you'll know. Along the way, Fat Dragon and his friends found that many of them were very impressive. Although the mountain road was not very high, it was quite steep. They were already out of breath before they reached their destination, but many others were calm and their breathing was steady. Hey, Xiao Wanangai, have you noticed? Many of them seem to be warriors. Well, look at those guys in front. Uncle Nong gestured and saw a middle-aged man and several young men in front of him. They were all about 1.9 meters tall and had amazing physiques. It was obvious at a glance that they were not ordinary people. Don't look at them casually, and don't say anything behind their backs. Suddenly, a member of the Tiger Roar team beside them reminded them with a smile. Although it won't offend anyone, it's very rude. People who practice martial arts are very sensitive to other people's gazes, and it's easy to be regarded as a provocation. Okay, thank you. Fat Long and the others immediately withdrew their gazes and hurriedly thanked them. No, Captain. As they were talking here, their eyes suddenly lit up, and they saw a familiar figure standing in front of the martial arts hall's gate not far away, welcoming guests. It was the captain of their own team, Yuan Huang. Well, you're here. Come in and find a seat. Yuan Huang and several fellow disciples from the Wu Family Martial Arts School, who were standing at the gate, stood side by side, and led the visitors to the seats divided into different areas in the martial arts school according to their identity. Well, one area for relatives, one area for friends and guests from the martial arts world, and one area for Wu Jiangtao's classmates and colleagues. In fact, there was no need to make such a distinction. The main reason was that the people from the martial arts world were a bit oppressive to people. Even if they didn't look at people, just sitting there was enough to put pressure on people. It's better not to sit with ordinary people. Soon the wedding began. At home, Wu Jiangtao offered tea to his father-in-law and mother-in-law and received red envelopes. After Li Xiaoshan, Bai Xiaoyuan and several bridesmaids made things difficult for him, he finally received the bride. Wu Jiangtao held Chen Jun's hand and personally held the hem of her dress to prevent it from getting covered in dust. The two of them came outside, but what was waiting for them was not a wedding car, but a huge black horse with red hair and a height of 1.8 meters. The girl obviously didn't expect this scene. She turned her head unexpectedly and looked at her husband in surprise. After all, we're getting married in the mountains, and the wedding car can't go up there, so let's change it to a BMW. This is a BMW my dad borrowed from an old friend. Chen Jun couldn't help but look at the big black horse. He saw that its long mane was loose, its whole body was muscular, its limbs were slender, and it looked extraordinary. The two of them had just come out, and the big black horse turned its head and looked at them with its big eyes. Its smart eyes seemed to recognize Wu Jiangtao. Well, it had been with this young man frequently in the past month or two, so it naturally recognized him. The bride and groom are getting on the BMW. Someone at the side shouted, and Wu Jiangtao jumped onto the horse, then bent down and stretched out his hand to pull Chen Jun onto the horse and sit in front of him. "Sit tight and lean on me." He said it softly, and Chen Jun leaned back happily. The Chen family nearby and the neighbors nearby took out their mobile phones and kept taking pictures of this scene. Even though there were two people sitting on it, the big black horse was very docile and just paced lightly. On the horse's back, Wu Jiantao gently stroked the mane behind its neck, then pulled the reins. "Go." You. The big black horse had been waiting for a long time. After hearing his command, it immediately jumped out and ran very fast in just a few feet. Wu Jiantao laughed loudly, pulled the reins to control the direction of the big black horse, and gently pressed it to stop it from running at full speed. Too fast, it was the first time for Chen Jun in his arms to ride a horse. With the help of Wu Jiangtao, she sat very steadily. The wind blowing in her face made it difficult for her to open her eyes. This is not the fastest. In less than 2 minutes, the big black horse brought them to the foot of Wushan Mountain. Wu Jiantao pulled the reins, and the horse galloped up the mountain road without hesitation. Feeling the change in her body's gravity, Chen Jun couldn't help but feel a little worried, but with Wu Jiangtao's help, she leaned forward slightly and lowered herself. The mountain road near the martial arts hall was a bit steep, but the big black horse was worthy of being a BMW, and it climbed up as if it were walking on flat ground. Even though it was carrying 2 people, climbing such a mountain road was not a big effort for a man in his prime. Arriving at the gate of the martial arts hall where the wedding was held, Wu Jiantao shouted and gently pulled the reins. The black horse, which was about to continue galloping forward, then hopped briskly and slowly stopped. It made a hissing sound from its nose and looked back at Wu Jiantao with some doubt in its big eyes. "Haven't I had enough fun yet?" "Haha, thank you, Haiyan, but I have something very important to do today." Chapter 229, Second Senior Sisters Discovery. Please subscribe and vote for the monthly ticket Tilda. After stroking the big black horse and calming it down, Wu Jiantao dismounted and carried Chen Jun down like a princess. Immediately, a senior brother from the martial arts school came over, helped Haiyan take off the big red ribbon on his body, climbed onto the horse, and ran down the mountain with him. Well, now he is in an excited state, so he needs to let him run for a while. The auspicious time has arrived. The wedding company host took the microphone and made an announcement. Then, a perfect couple, Wu Jiantao and Chen Jun, walked along the red carpet and entered the martial arts hall through the main door. They walked into the hall step by step, passed through the dojo inside, and came to the main hall. Father Wu, Mother Wu, Grandpa Wu, and Grandma Wu were sitting at the top of the table, looking at the 2 figures who walked in with joy on their faces. Wu Jiantao was wearing a Zhongshan suit with dragon and phoenix patterns, with an upright posture, clear and peaceful eyebrows, and a smile on his face. Chen Jun passed his right hand through Wu Jiantao's arm, and then went around to the front and held a phoenix round fan with her left hand. She was wearing a phoenix crown and bridal robe, with slightly drooped eyebrows and eyes, and a beautiful face that was pure and moving. At this moment, she became the focus of everyone's attention, in and out of the venue in this grand red dress. Wow, the bride is so beautiful. It's so beautiful. What kind of wedding dress is this? I want to wear something like this when I get married in the future. It's so beautiful. Wu Jiangtao is such a lucky kid. People like Fat Dragon, Xiao Wu, and Nang Yi had already taken out their mobile phones and started taking pictures of Wu Jiangtao and Chen Jun on the stage, and then sent them to the class group. Suddenly, the whole group became lively. Bow to heaven and earth. Bow to your parents. Husband and wife bow to each other. The ceremony is over. At this moment, Wu Jiangtao and Chen Jun couldn't help but look at each other. They saw the affection in each other's eyes, and at the same time they both breathed a sigh of relief. The wedding was finally over. It's quite a hassle. On the other side, the second sister came over with a smile and led the bride into the inner hall. Well, the bride's dress had to be changed into the light and simple one she had just worn. She would go to the table to greet the elders and relatives and toast at each table. Listening to the congratulations from relatives and friends around him, Wu Jiantao responded one by one, and at the same time he finally relaxed. Well, at this time the 2 babies were sleeping at home, and the mother-in-law and father-in-law were helping to look after them. After Chen Jun changed into her formal dress and came out of the inner hall, she began to greet Chen's relatives and many martial arts seniors who had a very good relationship with Grandpa Wu and Dad Wu. Then she followed her husband, Dad Wu, Mom Wu, Grandpa Wu, and Grandma Wu, and toasted at each table. Well, the women don't have to drink, but Wu Jiantao and Wu's father can't escape. Although they don't have to toast to every table with a full cup, they should at least have 1/3 of a cup. Oh, it's finally over. After toasting, Chen Jun, who was sent to the bridal chamber by the second senior sister, couldn't help but complain. Hearing this, the second senior sister rolled her eyes and said happily, "It's not over yet." Lord. She turned around in astonishment, only to see second senior sister winking at her with a smile. "Don't forget, isn't your family going to hold one too? Although there may not be a need for the bride reception and wedding ceremonies like here, there will still be some on-site ceremonies such as serving tea." What? Chen Jun was speechless for a moment. "Ha ha ha, it's okay, it's okay. The second game will definitely not be as stressful as this one, don't worry." The second sister reached out and patted her shoulder. Just as she was about to turn around and leave, she suddenly felt something and turned back. "Hey, sister-in-law, your muscles are." Oh. The second sister suddenly stretched out her hand and grabbed Chen Jun's shoulder. The next moment, almost driven by instinct, she stepped back and actually dodged the grab just in time. "Oh, that's interesting." She twisted her waist and made some serious moves. Chen Jun was unable to dodge any further, and her seemingly slender shoulders still fell into the opponent's hands. "Second senior sister, what are you doing?" She quickly broke free from second senior sister's hand, frowning slightly. Although she knew that the other party would not have any bad intentions towards her, she was still a little confused. "Your bodies." Feeling the difference in Chen Jun's muscles, the second sister looked at the bride in front of her with surprise. "You have practiced martial arts. That's not right. When you came home before, your body didn't have this foundation." "I guess so. I learned it from Jiang Tao." The two of them exchanged some ideas here, and the second sister realized that what she was learning was actually the secret yoga practice that Wu's father had taken from the martial arts gym. "In just over half a year, my body has changed so much. It seems that I really underestimated this technique that Master mentioned to everyone before." For a while, second senior sister was very interested in it. "It seems that the technique that Master talked about before is not bad, and it is not just a casual remark. You can try to practice it, and then go back to ask junior brother for advice." But we have to wait until this wedding is over." Besides Wu Jiangtao, Wu's mother and father were the ones who noticed the changes in Chen Jun's body earlier. For this reason, Wu's mother even checked Chen Jun's strength, speed, and especially her reaction speed. She found that she was no longer an ordinary person. Her strength was even much stronger than that of an ordinary adult man, and her reaction speed was especially sharp and fast. Considering her current physical condition, it would be a shame not to practice martial arts. Wu Ma specifically asked her if she wanted to practice Wu family's Xinyiquan, or if she liked any kind of boxing, Wu Ma could teach her. For example, Wu Jiantao knows Bajiquan and Baguazhang, in addition to his own Xinyiquan, and Wu Ma is also very good at Tai Chi. Tonight, at the Wu family martial arts school on Wu Mountain, there was a lot of noise and excitement. The night deepened, and the guests who came to this wedding banquet left one after another after saying goodbye to the host. Among them, several seniors held Wu Jiantao's hand and praised him for inventing the method of hiding weapons on the back, which helped them a lot. They thanked him and said that if there were any troubles in the future, they could just follow their instructions. After the introduction by Father Wu and Grandpa Wu, he learned that these predecessors were retired veterans of the Security Bureau. Well, although they had retired for many years, they were still shining and had made many contributions to the country. Of course, there are more than just these old seniors. There are also several seniors from the martial arts world who are watching. They have always wanted to know more about Wu Jiangtao, the martial arts genius who has suddenly become famous. This time, the young man's performance in the martial arts league left a deep impression on them. Chapter 230 Time flies. Please subscribe and vote. At this wedding, Wu Jiantao also began to step into the circle that Wu Dad and Old Man Wu had touched. Although he had already had a mental expectation before this, he was still shocked. These seniors are all big shots in their respective circles. Anyway, the wedding was finally over. Wu Jiantao returned home drunk. As soon as he got to the bridal chamber, he saw his wife holding her younger sister Daodu, walking around the room. How? He walked in quickly. "Well, you reek of alcohol. Go take a shower first." "What's wrong with my sister? Do you need to be carried and carried?" Wu Jiantao took off his dress and looked at the mother and daughter with concern. It might be because of today's firecrackers and the coming and going of people at home. They were a little scared. The elder brother just cried for a while, but I coaxed him to sleep. But the younger sister is still not very calm. She is always startled. Wu Jiantao took a shower as quickly as possible to wash off the smell of alcohol, then returned to the room and took Daodu from Chen Jun's arms. "Oh, it's Daddy." As soon as she took it, her half-closed eyes immediately opened. She saw the extremely familiar face, smelled his scent, and calmed down again. You are also very tired today. You should go to sleep first. I will carry her for a while and put her down when she falls asleep completely. But Chen Jun hesitated. You are tired too. I am actually fine. Let me do it. No, you go to sleep first. Daodu and Miao must be a little frightened. I think they will get up and make a fuss in the early morning. You go to sleep first. You may have to get up to feed them then. Since Wu Jiantao said so, Chen Jun had no choice but to nod. Just as she was about to turn around, Wu Jiantao suddenly put his arm around her waist and pulled her around. A gentle kiss full of tenderness. At about 3 in the morning, the two little ones woke up one after another as expected, crying loudly. Chen Jun woke up almost immediately and picked them up one in each hand with great skill and began to feed them on both sides. Fortunately, she still had some strength left. Otherwise, with the weight of the two little ones, she would definitely be too tired to hold them in a short while. As for Wu Jiantao, he was sleeping so soundly that no one could wake him up. He drank quite a bit of wine at the wedding banquet, so naturally he slept very soundly. Of course, if Chen Jun spoke, he would wake up from his sleep immediately. After all, he is now a star master, and his 5 senses have reached a very strong state. Even if he drinks a lot of wine at night, he can still maintain an extremely sharp state. The reason why the crying of the two babies did not wake him up is that in the past few months, when the babies occasionally get up at night, Chen Jun just turns over and feeds them, and the little guy will immediately calm down. Over time, Wu Jiantao formed this habit, and he would only wake up if the baby kept crying for a long time. Comforted by breast milk, the two little ones quickly settled down and fell asleep again in their mother's arms. After the wedding at Wu Jiantao's hometown was successfully completed, the bride and groom rested for a few days and then went straight to Chen Jun's hometown in Kyoto, where they held another wedding under the auspices of the Chen and Mo families. Perhaps it was because of the wedding at Wu Jiantao's hometown, the two of them were able to handle many things with ease at this wedding at Chen Jun's place. Well, they could clearly distinguish which things they needed to do themselves and which things should be done by professionals. Sure enough, no matter what it is, if you do it more, you will become familiar with it and become very skilled. Especially in these days, Chen Jun and Wu Jiantao have had profound experiences. After the two weddings, time flew by. Come on, Daodu. Daodu, come here, mommy. In the yard, Chen Jun and Wu Jiantao were guiding Daodu and Miao to practice walking. Before we knew it, the two little ones were already 1 year old and were able to walk with support. Well, both little ones are growing up very well. In addition to providing them with adequate nutrition in their diet, Wu Jiantao also often massages their muscles and bones to help them develop better and become stronger. Especially my younger sister Daodu, she can almost walk now. But she doesn't have this awareness yet and always leans on something after walking a short distance, not daring to walk freely. But the little girl can already push a small stool and walk back and forth in the yard and the living room. But it doesn't matter. After walking for a few more days, she will realize it and be able to walk completely on her own. When it comes to walking, the elder brother Miao is not as good as his younger sister. He can only walk with the help of the wall, and his steps are not as steady as his younger sister. Well, the physical difference between the two little guys is beginning to become apparent. In this regard, when Wu Jiantao checked the two little ones' body bones, he felt it very clearly. From this point of view, it seems that the younger sister's martial arts talent is much better, but the older brother should not be bad either. After all, martial arts talent is not just about physical strength, but also about other aspects such as consciousness, comprehension, etc. Now we can only say that the younger sister's innate physique is stronger than her brother's, but when it comes to martial arts talent, it is too early to draw a conclusion. Daodu took his hands off the table in the yard and turned to walk towards his mother, who was a few feet away. It would have taken only a few steps to reach that familiar embrace, but Chen Jun deliberately followed the little guy's steps and stepped back at the same time, causing her to unconsciously walk a little further. Seeing Daodu staggering and about to fall to the ground, Chen Jun stopped and stepped forward to support her. Oh my, our little Daodu is the best. Come on, brother. On the side, brother Miao's progress in learning to walk was slower than that of his sister, and he still needed Wu Jiantao to hold both hands in order to walk smoothly. Also in the yard with their two little great-grandchildren were Grandpa Chen and Grandma Chen. Old man, I don't know how Xiao Chu is doing. Do you want to give him a call and ask? Sitting on the rattan chair, Grandma Chen suddenly turned her head, looked at her old man and asked a question. Didn't we just talk on the phone? Grandpa Chen replied unhappily. It's okay, Xiao Wan and the bodyguards are over there. Well, these 2 days are Mo Wan's due date. Yesterday, under the guidance of Chen's father, she checked into the Harmony Hospital in Kyoto. Her life assistant Zaya Wan and the newly hired bodyguard are also at the hospital. Oh, I'm just worried. Why don't we go to the hospital now? There's no one here. I'm always feeling uneasy. Grandma Chen kept talking. Chapter 231 Everything Goes Well. Please subscribe and vote for the monthly ticket tilde. Suddenly, Chen Jun's cell phone on the table rang. Chen Jun quickly handed Daodu to her husband and immediately came over to answer the phone. Dad, your mother is about to give birth. Okay, I got it. We'll be there soon. After hanging up the phone, she turned to look at her family members who were all looking at her. Mom is in the delivery room. Let's go over there now. Grandpa and Grandma, I'd like to ask you to take care of Daodu and Mayomil for now. We should be back soon. If things don't go well, at least one person will come back before noon. After silently adding this in her heart, Chen Jun and her husband immediately went to the parking space outside, got in the car, and drove quickly towards the hospital. Tab. In the corridor on the 5th floor of the Obstetrics and Gynecology building of Harmony Hospital, Dad Chen was walking back and forth outside, his heart pounding, full of anxiety and nervousness. 28 years ago, when his daughter was born, he was unable to return in time to be with his wife. Today's experience was definitely the first time in his life, and it was really uncomfortable. Well, my wife walked into the delivery room at the age of nearly 50. It is very dangerous for both adults and children, especially when the chief physician came over just now, holding various power of attorney and informed consent forms, especially the informed consent form for cesarean section. Chen Chu was so scared that he hurriedly asked the doctor, "Hasn't my wife always been in good condition? Why does she need a cesarean section here?" The chief physician explained it patiently and turned to go into the delivery room. Only then did Chen's father breathe a sigh of relief. It turned out that all these signed informed consent forms were prepared in advance. This was to prevent unexpected bad situations from occurring during delivery so that the doctor could deal with them in time, avoiding the need to run out of the delivery room to find family members to sign, which would have been a waste of time. Chen Chu turned back and forth, his anxiety growing instead of decreasing. Why did it take so long? Why is there no sound at all? If it was a natural birth, my wife should have made some noises. Did something unexpected happen during the process, and the doctor decided to perform a cesarean section? Ziowan, the personal assistant standing beside him, was originally relatively calm, but she was also infected by him and became nervous. Only the new bodyguard and driver who was hired at the beginning of this year stood still like a mountain, with his brows lowered, not affected by Chen Chu at all. Time passed little by little, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Almost 20 minutes after Mo Wan entered the delivery room, 2 hurried footsteps were heard at the other end of the corridor. Father Chen and Zaya Wan turned around and saw that it was Wu Jiangtao and Chen Jun who came. Dad. When they came up, they both asked about the situation. Your mother is still in there. It's been 20 minutes. I don't know where she is. As they were talking here, the door of the delivery room opened. They all turned their heads subconsciously and saw a female nurse holding a blanket and coming to Chen's father. Congratulations, it's a natural birth. It's a baby girl weighing 6.4 kilograms. This is the birth time label. Keep it carefully and don't throw it away. Okay. Father Chen took it subconsciously, staring blankly at the wrinkled little guy in his arms, whose eyes were still a little hard to open. His mind was inexplicably blank at this moment. The little guy must have just cried in the delivery room. The corners of his eyes were wet, and his left eye was half closed, but it seemed to be open, and he was looking at the person in front of him. By the way, where is the child's mother? Wait a minute, it will be out soon. As soon as the nurse finished speaking, the door of the delivery room opened completely, and Mo Wan, who was sweating and pale, was pushed out on the bed. Babies. As soon as she came out, she subconsciously looked over here. Chen Chu hurried forward and held the baby in front of her for her to see. Don't be in a hurry, go to the ward first. Come on, make way. The nurses pushing the hospital bed did not stop here, but pushed the bed forward non-stop. In the ward, Mo Wan, who was extremely thirsty, drank a large glass of warm water and finally felt better. She turned slightly to the side and saw Erbao, who was sleeping with his eyes closed beside her. Zaiojun looked quickly. This is your sister. I see. Chen Jun beside her replied unhappily, also staring at the baby intently. Suddenly, as if she thought of something, she looked up at her mother and said, "By the way, Mom, do you feel your milk swelling? It's time to start producing milk. When it wakes up later, it will need milk." Mo Wan was stunned at first. Wu Jiangtao in front of the bed immediately nodded at Chen Jun, turned around and left the ward first, and Chen's father also subconsciously turned around and left. Dad, where are you going? Stay and watch. Mom may need your help with her milk production. Ah, Father Chen was stunned at first, then he understood. Oh. He turned around quickly and saw his daughter checking his wife's granary. It was very different from when he was pregnant with his two babies. He was completely stiff at that time, while his mother just felt a little thick. Well, this is natural. After all, given his mother's age, her milk supply is not as abundant as that of young people. It seems that your milk supply is not enough, Mom. You may not have enough milk. You need to eat more milk-producing food next time. Now you need to start producing milk first. Ah, then how do I start breastfeeding? Father Chen was a little stunned. How about I ask the nurse? There should be a breastfeeding consultant or something like that, right? We have it, but you don't need to ask for it. Dad, go get some warm water. About 50 degrees will be fine. I'll give Mom a massage to dredge the breast glands, and when the baby wakes up and sucks, she'll start to produce milk. While we were busy here, the door of the ward opened, and the chief physician and two nurses walked in. Well, Father Chen was asked to leave again. The doctor examined Mo Wan's body, looked at the granary, and gave her a massage. You may not have enough milk, but it's okay. Let your baby suck more and your milk will increase. Within half an hour after a normal birth, you should feed your baby the first mouthful of milk. At this time, the baby may not be able to suck out much milk instantly, but through the stimulation of the baby and the massage of the nipples by the baby's mouth, the more you feed, the more conducive it is to milk production. Don't think that you just had your baby and that your milk won't come down, so don't let your baby suck. This is a very wrong approach, as it will miss the great opportunity for your baby to absorb colostrum. The doctor checked Mo Wan's various physical indicators while telling her various precautions. Don't worry if the baby hasn't sucked out yet, and don't feed her formula milk. You are strictly prohibited from feeding her formula milk without permission. Do you understand? Chapter 232. Discharge from the hospital. Please subscribe and vote for the monthly ticket tilde. After the examination, the chief physician left, leaving a nurse to explain to them the various precautions for pregnant women in terms of feeding the baby and diet, and also said that her physical indicators were all normal, and if there was no problem, she would be discharged tomorrow. Wow. Chen Jun, who was standing next to him, was stunned. Oh, that's right. I almost forgot that my mother had a natural birth today. She is much better than me last year. The nurse left after saying this. Mo Wan's body was gradually recovering at this time, but she felt very hungry, so she immediately asked her life assistant Xiaowan to go out and buy some food. Compared with the strict dietary restrictions of the cesarean section, she only abstained from spicy, cold, and irritating foods after a natural birth. It was best for her to eat lighter food and drink more nutritious soups, such as fish soup and pig's trotter soup, which could promote milk production. But Xiaowan didn't have time to leave the ward yet. Dang dong dang. Chen Jun took out a lunchbox from the bag he brought with him and put it on the bedside table. He said to Xiaowan, "Don't worry, we have already prepared it." Seeing the lunchbox, Mo Wan, who was lying on the bed with a tired face, also perked up and looked over. Chen Jun gently opened the lunchbox, and immediately a very fragrant aroma of fish soup spread out. Gurgle. As soon as this happened, not to mention Mo Wan, even Chen Jun and Xiaowan couldn't help but swallow their saliva. It smells so good. In fact, Mo Wan is worthy of being the chairman of Fei Yun Group. She has arranged everything for everyone around her. Of course, Dad Chen cannot escape being taken care of. As for Chen Jun and Wu Jiantao, they can't stay that long. Don't forget that there are two little ancestors waiting for them to return home. It wasn't until about 1:00 p.m. that she finally started to breastfeed. Well, Erba wanted to breastfeed recently, which made her very upset. When the little guy woke up in the morning, he cried for breastfeeding, but she couldn't get any milk no matter how hard she sucked. During this period, he was so anxious that he didn't want to suck and kept crying. During this period, there was really no way, so Dad Chen had to feed the little guy some water. But it was useless. The little guy was quiet for a while and soon started to make trouble again. Originally, everyone around her advised her to secretly feed the baby some milk powder, but Mo Wan did not agree and insisted on letting the baby suck milk. Well, it was actually very painful for the baby who hadn't started to produce milk to be sucked like this. Fortunately, the pain didn't last long. He finally started to produce milk at around 1 o'clock. The little one who got the milk immediately calmed down. Maybe he was very tired from crying before, so he fell asleep after a few sips of milk. Originally, Mo Wan was worried that the baby might not be full after drinking so little, but the nurse who happened to come over smiled and comforted her that it was okay. The baby's stomach was now about the size of an adult's thumb, and his appetite was very small. He just ate more frequently, once every 2 hours. Mo Wan, who was a mother for the second time, was mentally prepared for this. However, the rhythm of the baby sleeping for a while and waking up for a while from the afternoon still made her a little overwhelmed. In the beginning, everything was fine. She had a natural birth, so she had more energy than women who had cesarean sections. Even until the evening, Mo Wan felt that it was okay. She just followed the rhythm of the little one and took advantage of her sleeping time to have a good rest. But when it was late at night, when fatigue collapsed like a landslide and tsunami and drowned her whole body, she felt the pain. I remember it was fine when I took care of Xiaojun before. Why is this so difficult? It was 2 or 3 in the morning. In the ward, Father Chen, who stayed behind to take care of the baby, and the nurse who was hired were on duty in the first half of the night and the second half of the night, respectively. Father Chen had just fallen asleep, and the nurse had just helped to bring the baby over to feed him. At this moment, Mo Wan's hair was disheveled, and her eyes were wide open. At this moment, the baby fell asleep again after feeding, and she was obviously very sleepy and tired, but she couldn't fall asleep inexplicably. Sleep, breathe, breathe. Take a deep breath and relax. Calm down and don't be swayed by your current emotions. Mo Wan, as long as you can calm down, you can overcome any problem. You can do it. Although she felt extremely uncomfortable, she was a businesswoman who had experienced many ups and downs. She controlled her mind, forced herself to calm down, soothed her guilty conscience, closed her eyes and took a nap. If you can't sleep, even closing your eyes and resting your mind can help rest your eyes and relieve visual fatigue. Mo Wan, who had suffered from insomnia and headaches in the past, had a deep understanding of this point. Over the past year, she has not suffered from insomnia or headaches under the care and treatment of her son-in-law. If not, she was sure that she would collapse now. Click. The door of the bathroom opened, and the female nurse came out and took a look at the baby and the pregnant mother. She thought about it, bent down and checked the baby's diaper. Fortunately, there was no feces and the baby was only a little wet. She would change it later. The difficult first night is finally over. After getting through the most difficult emotional stage, Mo Wan felt that her mind was much calmer and more stable. She no longer felt angry with her husband. Well, he had done a good job since her unexpected pregnancy until now. Objectively speaking, it is already above the passing level, especially with a positive mentality. Mo Wan had nothing to blame for this. Her husband was not a family-oriented man. Especially since he had been working in a research institute for the past 20 years, he spent much more time there than at home. He is not an isolated case. There are too many. The next afternoon, Mo Wan got out of the hospital bed, held Erbao in her arms, and with the help of Chen's father, she walked out of the hospital and got on the car to go home. When he returned home with the baby, all of Chen Jun's uncles and aunts were there, sitting in the living room chatting and laughing with Grandpa and Grandma Chen. They congratulated their eldest brother one by one, and then gave him red envelopes. Dad Chen had no reason to refuse, so he took it directly. Because the baby had just been discharged from the hospital and needed quiet, the relatives tacitly did not go to the room to see Mo Wan. At most, they just stood at the door and whispered a few words to her from a distance, or came over to say goodbye when they were about to leave. In the past 2 days since Mo Wan was discharged from the hospital, her family has had many guests visiting her, including relatives of the Mo family, directors and executives of Fei Yun Group, colleagues and disciples of Chen's father at the Research Institute, and neighbors from all over the place. Chapter 233, Going Home. Please subscribe and vote. However, the people coming and going soon dispersed, and Chen Jun's hometown became peaceful again. No, it should be said that the house has returned to its previous noisy state, especially with the addition of a new member. The crying of the baby in the house sometimes even comes one after another. But despite the noise, the prosperity of the family makes the 2 old people cheerful all day long, and they are very happy. But the lively days at home did not last long because Chen Jun and Wu Jiantao were going to take their 2 babies back home. Although Mo Wan, Grandpa Chen and Grandma Chen still miss Chen Jun's departure, they no longer have the same indelible sadness as before. Well, the addition of a cute little girl to the family has diluted the sadness of parting. Although she's not easy to take care of during the confinement period, especially at night when she wakes up every 2 hours to whimper for milk, which makes Chen Dad and Mo Wan very upset. Her presence makes the originally cold and dull home become warm and affectionate. Both the couple and the 2 elderly people are taking good care of this little guy. Buzz. The electric car was parked in the parking space. Wu Jiantao, who had been flying and driving all the way, felt that his head was a little heavy. He opened the door and got out of the car. The light dust and slightly damp and cold air from the underground garage came over him. The feeling of the cold air refreshed him. Wu Jiantao opened the door of the back seat and leaned over to look at the 2 little ones who were sleeping soundly. Chen Jun stretched out her long legs and couldn't help yawning when she got out of the car. Ha tilde tilde tilde. Wu Jiantao followed her eyes and couldn't help but move closer to kiss her soft and sweet lips. Ouch, I feel like I have breaths. Chen Jun, who was attacked by surprise, leaned back slightly and gave him a reproachful look. It doesn't matter, I don't mind tilde. Wu Jiantao licked his lips with a smile. Even if you just ate the 9-bend large intestine with garlic vinegar, I wouldn't mind. Ah, tilde. She immediately turned her face away in disgust, pretending to vomit, and said, "Can you please stop talking about this? It's disgusting." If there is one thing Chen Jun dislikes most about the specialty food of his hometown, it would be this, no doubt about it. Haha, okay, I won't say anything. Chen Jun held her brother Miao, while Wu Jiantao held his sister Daodu in one hand and pushed the suitcase with the other, and walked towards the elevator in the corner of the underground garage. When they got home, the couple let out a sigh of relief at the same time. They were just about to lie down on the sofa and take a good rest. When they checked their phones, the two little ones who were sleeping soundly in the baby's bed just opened their eyes. Opened. At this moment, Wu Jiantao and Chen Jun looked at each other and saw the bitter smiles on each other's faces. Alas, this is really fatal. Daddy, mommies. Nana. Although Daodu and Miao are not as difficult to take care of as their aunt was back then, they are still very troublesome. Just like now, even if Wu Jiantao wants to take care of them alone, he will definitely not be able to escape if Chen Jun is also present. Well, being a mother is not that easy. For example, the two little ones have woken up now. They may not look for their father, but they will definitely look for their mother, even though they have just had milk in the car and are not hungry at all. Just like now, Wu Jiantao tried to prove that he could take care of two babies by himself, so he stood in front of the crib, blocking the two babies' view of Chen Jun. Hurry up and get into the room. If they can't see you, they won't look for you anymore. Hurry up. Oh, those. Wu Jiantao in front blocked the view. Chen Jun stood up and crouched down. Just as he was about to turn around and leave, Daodu had already climbed the fence of the crib and poked his little head out from the side of his father. He saw a figure who was about to leave on tiptoe. Moms. The little one pointed at her and tried to climb out of the crib to get to his mother. Well, the mother over there was so moved by the calls of Mom that she immediately turned around and hugged the little Daodu, who was seeking a familiar embrace with a doting face. The brother Miao on the other side was not to be outdone and also kept calling, Mom. Chen Jun could only treat them equally and picked up the little guy with his other hand. Fortunately, I didn't plan to have a third child, otherwise I wouldn't be able to hold them all. Well, a few days ago, her husband joked with her about whether she should respond to the country's 3-child policy and have another child. She shuddered on the spot and shook her head like a rattle. She would never dare to have such an idea. Over the past year, she deeply realized how difficult it is to be a mother. Before giving birth, she thought it would be a difficult battle. That is, it would require hard work during childbirth and confinement, and that things would get better after it passed. But the facts proved that she was too naive. Giving birth and raising a child is simply a protracted battle with no end in sight. Chen Jun, who was holding Daodu and Miao lightly, turned around and sat on the sofa. She let go of them gently, and the two little guys stopped clinging to their mother and started to move freely on the sofa. Wu Jiantao, who followed, also sat down and watched the two babies with Chen Jun to prevent them from accidentally falling off the sofa. Speaking of wrestling, our Daodu is definitely an expert at wrestling. He has wrestled countless times in the living room and yard of his hometown. Sometimes Wu Jiantao was not there, and Grandpa Chen, Grandma Chen, and Chen Jun, who were watching over him, could not react in time. Well, the little guy now has a black bruise on his knee and a small bump on his forehead, but Daodu never seems to be afraid of these falls. He just cried loudly after falling, but he immediately let go of the adult's hands and strolled around the yard and the living room. If there were no one watching him, this little guy could run out directly from the door. Compared to his sister, the elder brother Miao was very cautious. He showed the popular style of Go Dao Liu in online literature to the fullest. He never let go of the adult's hands and walked around. Even if Chen Jun deliberately let go of his hands to train him, he would definitely turn around and run over to hold on to the sofa or wall, or simply push a small stool and walk around. But what makes Wu Jiantao most unhappy is that the two babies always look for their mother and basically never look for him as their father. Well, he had a deep understanding of this. Only when Chen Jun was not around would their eyes naturally turn to their father. Only at this time could he deeply feel the two little guys' attachment to him. Con. The second update may be late tilde. Chapter 234 Cruel Reality. Please subscribe and vote tilde. Just like now, Wu Jiantao deliberately moved forward and put his whole head in front of his sister Daodu, thinking that the little one would definitely come over to kiss him. After all, he had been holding and taking care of this little one since the confinement period. When she was noisy at night, he would hold her and rock her to sleep. But the next moment, the little guy opened his big black eyes and looked down at his father in confusion. He didn't quite understand why he suddenly came so close to him. Without thinking, she turned around, stuck her little butt towards her dad's face, and kicked her little feet hard, stepped on her dad's head, and ran away to her mom's side. Wu Jiangtao. Puchai Chenjun, who was lying on the sofa with the two little ones cuddling together, couldn't help laughing, which earned her husband's resentful look. Isn't it said that a daughter is a father's sweetheart? Just this, sweetheart. Ha 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 ha, seeing this aggrieved look, please forgive me for laughing even more unkindly. Humph Wu Jiangtao is also angry. I don't believe it. Turning his head, he stared at his brother, who was holding his feet and biting them vigorously, and slowly moved closer to him. Mio Mio. The brother who was chewing on his own pig's trotter blinked his eyes, let go of his feet, and came over. Suddenly, Wu Jiangtao's eyes lit up, and he looked at his brother with eyes full of love and encouragement. Come here, dear son. Kiss daddy. The next moment, the son got up and sat up, stretching out his hands to feel his father's face. Wu Jiangtao felt a little strange. It didn't seem like she wanted to kiss him. Just when he was wondering, his brother Mio Mio finally took action. Well, grab Wu Jiangtao's hair, which has not been trimmed for a month or two and is a little long, and then pull it hard. It hurts so much. It's not a scalp ache, but a heartache, the kind of pain that goes deep into the soul. Wu Jiangtao was so aggrieved that he almost cried on the spot, while Chen Jun beside him covered his stomach and laughed so hard that his body shook. Are you asking for trouble? Wu Jiangtao was completely stunned, while his brother Mio Mio was still pulling his hair playfully, once, twice, 3 times. That's enough. If you pull my hair again, I won't be with you anymore. Wu Jiangtao had a stern face, but the little guy continued to do as he pleased, showing no fear at all. So sad. He pushed away the little guy's 2 chubby hands that were pulling his hair, and sat up with a sullen look on his face. Chen Jun beside him couldn't help laughing and said, You haven't recognized reality yet. You would definitely do the same. Wu Jiangtao glanced at her and said confidently, If you put your head in front of Mio Mio, he would definitely pull your hair for fun. If you don't believe me, try it. Hey. Chen Jun raised his chin confidently and said, Let's give it a try. Immediately, the mother lay down on the sofa with a smile on her face and gently rested her head on her brother Mio Mio's thigh. Well, she lifted her head a little bit, but didn't press it down completely. Just when Wu Jiangtao thought that his naughty brother would definitely reach out and pull his mother's hair, after all, her hair was longer and more playful. But the next moment, I saw the little guy lowered his head gently, Mua, and kissed him directly. Relative. Wu Jiangtao is unhappy. Why are you so double standard? It's not fair. After all, I have worked hard to raise you for more than a year. Poor Lin Bei, I prepare 3 meals a day, take care of you day and night, carry you when you cry or make a fuss, give you all kinds of massages and moxibustion when you feel unwell, and give you all kinds of delicious complimentary foods. I don't believe it. Try your sister. She will definitely kick with her feet. While Wu Jiangtao was still stubbornly saying this, Chen Jun had already turned around and also approached his sister. Well, Daodu gave Mama an extremely sweet kiss, just like his brother. Wu Jiangtao was so envious and jealous that he almost put his fingers in his mouth and bit them because he felt aggrieved. I also want to be treated like this. He didn't know that his mother was born with an advantage over his father in this respect. Not to mention that the baby has always been breastfed by the mother. If you count back, the mother has established the most intimate and inseparable connection with the baby in life during the 10 months of pregnancy. This kind of connection is not just at the level of life emotions, it is even deeply embedded in the life instincts and even the genes. However, Chen Jun laughed too early. Before she could smile proudly at Wu Jiangtao, her sister Daodu kissed her while her 2 chubby little hands climbed onto her mother's soft, black, long hair. Then I pulled it instinctively. Lo! She screamed and quickly reached out to free her hair from the little guy's hands. Wu Jiangtao didn't laugh at first, but quickly came over and touched his wife's scalp that was pulled. It doesn't hurt. As he said this, he couldn't help but frown and said to his sister Daodu in a bad tone, How can you pull Mom's hair like this? What if you pull all of Mom's hair out? Then she'll become bald. When the little fellow was scolded, his big black eyes froze at first, then his lower lip pressed against his upper lip, his mouth sank downwards, and his chest rose and fell rapidly. The next moment, my sister Daodu's big eyes turned red, and then, Wow! She burst into tears, and tears as big as beans flowed down from the corners of her eyes, running down her cute cheeks. She cried like a pear with rain on its face. What are you doing? Chen Jun felt so distressed that he quickly stood up and held the little guy in his arms to comfort him. Wu Jiantao immediately backed off and quickly approached his sister Daodu to apologize. I'm sorry. It was Daddy's fault just now. Daddy was a little anxious. Although the baby is still young and can't understand words, she can feel her parents' emotions from their tone. This is the first time she has been treated like that. Stinky dad, how dare you get angry at me? Chen Jun hugged the little guy to comfort him, while pointing at Wu Jiantao, who looked apologetic, and scolded him with a smile. Daodu's grievance came and went quickly, and she recovered quickly, smiling brightly at her mother who was hugging her. Call! Wu Jiantao let out a long sigh and blamed himself at the same time. Next time he encountered such a situation, even if he was angry, he must relieve himself immediately and not take it out on the baby. Chapter 235. The Secret of Porridge. Please subscribe and vote for the monthly ticket Tilda. The baby is so young and doesn't understand anything. He has no judgment on whether many of his actions and behaviors are good or bad. Most of his actions are natural reactions, just like the action of grabbing his hair just now. This is actually the instinct of humans to grab when babies hung on their parents for hundreds of thousands or even millions of years since the ancient ape period. Daodu didn't understand what Wu Jiantao had just said to her. The only thing she could feel was the accusations and anger coming at her. This kind of emotional expression will have a very bad impact on such a young baby. The baby is not happy. Over there, Chen Jun coaxed his sister Daodu, while over here, Wu Jiantao expressed that he felt very aggrieved and approached with a smug face, resting his head on his wife's thigh. So soft and bouncy, the texture of this pillow is quite good. Someone gave his wife a thumbs up in his heart. Seeing that he was aggrieved, Chen Jun immediately lowered her head and gave him a sweet kiss. No grievance, no grievance. Even though his son and daughter don't love him, he is still her husband after all. If she doesn't love him, who will? Chen Jun here gave a kiss and said something calming, and his sister Daodu over there looked curious and followed suit and came close to her father and gave a kiss as well. As for his brother Mao, he was still holding his own feet and chewing them. After playing with the two babies for a while, before I knew it, it was already a little after 11 o'clock. Wu Jiantao got up quickly and went to prepare lunch. At this moment, a pleasant doorbell rang from the direction of the gate. Ding dong, ding dong. He felt something in his heart and realized who was coming. He turned around, walked through the entrance, and opened the door. Dang dong dang. But he saw Li Ziaoshan standing outside the door with a smile on her face, and standing next to her, carrying bags and looking helpless, was his eldest cousin Yuan Huang. Just got back, right? Did you buy any groceries? Look how thoughtful we are. We immediately sent you some fresh vegetables and meat. Haha, welcome, of course you're welcome. Wu Jiantao chuckled, stepped aside to let them in, and pointed at the slaughtered chicken in his cousin's hand. If I hadn't seen this chicken, I would have taken it seriously. It's true, more real than real gold and silver. Shaking his head, he took his cousin to the kitchen, and the two of them prepared lunch together. You can make today's spicy chicken, Wu Jiantao said to Yuan Huang with a smile while cutting vegetables. The older cousin couldn't help but shook his head slightly. Ziaoshan will eat it out. No, trust me, he said very calmly. Okay, let me do it. It's just cooking a dish, and at most he'll be scolded by his girlfriend. Well, ever since he started learning cooking from his cousin, Yuan Huang's cooking skills have actually become very good. Even if they're not at professional level, they're pretty close. After all, he is a star master whose martial arts strength has reached the level of whole strength. Compared with ordinary people, his dexterity and eyesight are much stronger. Naturally, he learns cooking very quickly. Although he has only learned it for more than half a year, many of his dishes now taste as good as those made by Wu Jiantao. Especially for the dishes that Li Ziaoshan liked to eat, he worked hard to make them, such as kung pao chicken, spicy chicken, shredded pork with fish flavor, and even the hand-shredded cabbage that required the most culinary skills, which he made to professional standards and conquered his parents. But Li Ziaoshan is the only one who is different. He cooked these dishes for her at home, but the girl always felt that something was missing while eating them, but she couldn't tell what it was, which made Yuan Huang very puzzled. Regarding this matter, Yuan Huang has been complaining to Wu Jiantao these days, saying, "Didn't you say that the sea dish I cook is not much worse than yours? How come this girl can tell by eating it? Tell me, are you hiding something?" Wu Jiantao was a little confused about this at the time, but now he suddenly thought of something, so he let his cousin do it himself, saving himself some effort. The two of them were indeed star masters. Their hands moved very quickly, and soon, a very sumptuous meal was ready. It's time to eat. Wakakaka. Yu Wenhuang said something in the restaurant, and Li Ziaoshan in the living room immediately moved. However, as soon as she got up, she stood still with a tactful look, then turned around and helped Chen Jun pick up her brother Miao Miao. As a close friend, she is not a guest when she comes to 903. Although she brings her own food every time she comes, she still needs to have the awareness of a freeloader when she comes to eat, and she still needs to help. After putting the two babies in the baby chairs, Wu Jiantao immediately brought 2 bowls of porridge specially for the babies. Well, the ingredients were very rich, including carrots, winter melon, sweet potatoes, and green vegetable. The porridge I am cooking now is strictly speaking sweet potato porridge, because sweet potato is the most abundant ingredient in it, and the rest are just garnishes. Wu Jiantao always finds different ways to prepare the staple food porridge and rice for the babies, so that they have a different diet every day of the week. For example, yesterday Wu Jiantao cooked millet and yam porridge for the 2 babies. Yams, sweet potatoes, pumpkins, and various vegetables. For babies who have just turned 1 year old, special attention should be paid to their gastrointestinal absorption and digestion. Do not feed them white rice porridge to make it more nutritious, but simply add various grains or meats. For example, corn has a coarse fiber, so if the baby is still young, he should not eat too much. Otherwise, it will easily cause excessive burden on the baby's stomach. At the same time, you should not add white or meat broth to the porridge for seasoning, because you are afraid that the baby will not like it. Grandpa Wu also specifically reminded Wu Jiantao on this point. Traditional Chinese medicine usually classifies meat, overly sweet foods, and fried, smoked, and grilled foods as heavy-flavored foods. Chinese medicine believes that if the 5 flavors are slightly lighter, they can nourish people and make them feel refreshed. If they are slightly thicker, they will cause damage to different internal organs. Therefore, babies should be encouraged to develop a habit of light eating, and it is not advisable to add too many heavy flavors to the porridge. Wu Jiantao sat at the table and was teaching his eldest cousin how to make porridge. Well, Li Ziaoshan likes to eat all kinds of food, especially those with strong flavors, but porridge is actually the most suitable food for her. It's nothing, she's too busy at the research institute, even busier than Yu Wenhuang, the criminal policeman who works in the security department. After all, major cases don't happen often, but Li Ziaoshan's work at the research institute has basically always been very busy. Although she ate 3 meals a day as usual, her work was too stressful, and she often sat for long periods of time, so her digestion was naturally not very good, and she often felt uncomfortable in her stomach. Chapter 236. Please subscribe and vote for me in my lifetime, Tilda. When seeing Wu Jiantao cooking porridge today, Yu Wenhuang immediately thought that all kinds of porridge that are delicious, nutritious, and good for the stomach would be most suitable for her, so he immediately asked for advice. After the porridge is cooked, a layer of fine, sticky ointment-like substance floats on the surface. In Chinese medicine, it is called rice oil, commonly known as porridge oil. Its nourishing effect is no less than ginseng, and its effect of nourishing yin is no less than that of cooked mania. If a person who is dark and thin eats rice oil, he will become fat and white in 100 days. While explaining to his cousin, Wu Jiantao picked up a small ladle, scraped a layer of rich porridge oil on the bowl of porridge, and poured it into the little guy's mouth. The brother ate happily, dancing with his hands while eating, his big dark eyes fixed on the bowl of porridge in front of him. On the other side, Chen Jun was also holding a bowl and feeding her sister Daodu. Her sister was also eating so much that her lips were covered with porridge oil. Brush, brush, brush. In less than 10 minutes, Daodu and Miao Miao finished their bowls of porridge. After they finished, they kept calling Papa Papa, wanting to continue eating. Having a good appetite is a good thing, but Wu Jiantao knew that the 2 little guys were actually full and couldn't eat anymore, otherwise they would suffer from indigestion. Children's indigestion has always been a big problem for parents, and Wu Jiantao also pays great attention to this. Wait a minute. As Wu Jiantao was talking, Li Ziaoshan was not happy. She said as she ate heartily, "What do you mean by thin people eat dark ones? I admit I'm thin, but I'm not dark, okay, Tilda? No one is talking about you. Didn't you hear what the guy just said is that dark and thin people eat it? Why are you jumping out to admit it?" Chen Jun, who had just finished feeding the baby and was sitting at the table to eat, rolled her eyes at her. "As for whether you are dark or not, no one says you are dark. Look carefully. You are just not very white." "That's more like it. Wait, what do you mean by not very white? I've always been very white, okay?" Li Ziaoshan was not convinced and pointed at her fair face. "Where am I dark? It doesn't count if you wipe your face, it doesn't count." The 2 best friends were bickering with each other at the dining table. Their 2 cousins were eating silently beside them, and two little kids were chewing on teething toys in the crib not far away. Brother Mayo's teething toys were snatched away by his sister. She was playing with them, one in each hand, and having a lot of fun. The brother next to him had nothing to play with and could only hold his own feet and chew on them. After lunch, Wu Jiantao and Yu Wenwang discussed the upcoming playoffs. Well, the Chinese Martial Arts League A has been grandly opened since last year's National Day until now, from the preliminaries of the 5 major competition areas to the qualifying rounds of the main competition, and then to the current playoffs. So which international martial arts competition are you collaborating with now? At the side, Li Ziaoshan asked curiously. At this moment, she was holding a baby in each of their arms, coaxing them to take a nap while chatting with 2 grown men. The world's #1 martial arts competition. Yuan Huang said lightly. Lo. When they heard about the #1 martial arts competition in the world, they both became very interested. This competition is a top-notch competition on par with the Europa League in football and the BBA League in basketball, and it has a profound influence worldwide. This league is also held every 4 years, but it is much younger than the other 2 leagues. Among them, the Europa League is the oldest, with a history of nearly a century, while the world's #1 martial arts competition has only been held for the 3rd time. Of course, in terms of history and antiquity, the other 2 sports are not even worthy of mentioning shoes compared to martial arts. After all, martial arts is an ancient fighting technique that has evolved since the birth of mankind, through the struggle with nature, the competition with other species, and even the wars in human civilization. How do we connect? In the playoffs of the Martial Arts League, an individual ranking challenge will be added. The top 8 will be invited to the preliminaries of the world's #1 martial arts competition, and the top 3 will be allowed to enter the main competition, Wu Jiantao said in a deep voice. What? Hearing this, Li Ziaoshan and Chen Jun couldn't help but look at each other. You have to know that the Chinese martial arts, a level league, brings together the best young martial artists in China. What is the Martial Arts Association thinking? How could they so easily agree to such a self-deprecating condition? Maybe ordinary people have no idea about star masters like Wu Jiantao and Yuan Huang, but the official committee members of the world's #1 martial arts competition don't know anything about them either. How is this possible? Of course, this is just their opinion. In fact, even the mainstream martial arts fans in China have been distracted by the mainstream judgments on the internet. Now when you open your phone and search for martial arts-related news, most of them are celebrating. What are we celebrating? To celebrate the fact that the domestic martial arts first-class league can finally be linked with the world's #1 martial arts competition. Everyone said it was a once-in-a-lifetime event, and they were deeply moved. Most martial arts fans do not have a clear concept of the distinction between martial arts strengths. Even fighting masters from foreign countries such as Europe and the United States do not have a clear concept. Even the masters among them do not have a clear enough understanding of what is obvious force and what is dark force. This is the cognitive obstacle brought about by culture. Just like in the international martial arts world, the warriors of Han and Wying issued warnings in the international circle, but the mainstream martial arts fighters in the West did not take it seriously at all. That's right, they all believed that the Chinese martial arts world only had thousands of years of history, but had no real strength at all. However, the development of the Chinese martial arts world over the past century has even developed the strongest martial arts moves, and even the Han and Wying countries have used their moves as reference in international professional leagues. However, when this view appeared in the international martial arts circle, no one believed it at all. Stop joking. Chinese martial artists don't even have good results in the international martial arts competition circle. How could they have the most powerful martial arts moves in their country? But it's true. This most powerful martial arts move is commonly used by the Chinese military and police. Military fighting skills. Just like in this competition of the Chinese martial arts class A-Leg, many warriors are using military fighting techniques. Especially the warriors from the provincial security teams, they used it very skillfully and cleverly. In the unlimited fighting competition, military fighting skills are naturally the most applicable. Many martial artists in the martial arts world are caught off guard by such practical moves and lose unwillingly and feel aggrieved. It was obvious that their martial arts strength levels were similar, and there was no qualitative difference, but they were knocked out by each other in just a few rounds. Chapter 237 One morning. Please subscribe and vote. Of course, moves are just moves. The difference between martial arts sects and schools lies in the core of the power, as well as the differences in the mind and the mind. Just like Tai Chi among the internal martial arts, Even ordinary people can see the obvious difference between Yang-style Tai Chi and Chen-style Tai Chi. The former is more restrained in exerting force, while the latter is more obvious in exerting force. But this is only a difference in the way of using force. In essence, they are all exerting force, and the moves and techniques of exerting force are up to the martial artist himself. In addition, no matter which sect or school, no matter what level of martial artist, from Ming Jin to Ming and Xiangjai, then to Hua Jin, and then to the current highest level of Grandmaster Dan Jin. In the application of strength, the strength starts from the ground, explodes through the waist, horse and dantian, and finally comes back to the waist and dantian. The so-called Grandmaster, the so-called Dan Jin, it means being able to control, play with, manipulate, and unleash 200% of the strength. Explosion is the simplest, and Western fighting styles also pursue the progression and development at this level. However, the pursuit of Chinese martial arts is different. Not only does it have more detailed and layered distinctions and progressions in strength, but it also has a higher level of pursuit and exploration in the mind. At this level, martial arts is the pursuit of the true self, the original heart, and even the unity of man and nature by every martial artist, and the self-victory. There is no desire or craving for the so-called victory. The playoffs will start in just half a month, on July 3rd. Strictly speaking, the Chinese Martial Arts A-Level League has ended, especially the team results have been settled. Wu Jiantao's team directly won the championship of the first A-Level League. On the individual season win-loss performance standings, Yuan Huang ranked 2nd and Wu Jiantao ranked 8th. The playoffs of the Chinese Martial Arts League A were actually more like playoffs, but were given the name of a playoff because they were linked with the world's #1 martial arts competition, the East Asian Martial Arts Throne Championship, and the World Martial Arts Open. The playoffs will no longer be held in the form of team competitions. After all, the team warriors who enter the playoffs will be divided into small groups and compete in the top 3 competitions in the Global Martial Arts Competition circle in the second half of the year. Of course, the levels of these 3 international competitions are different, and the warriors participating in each competition are also divided according to their personal season win-loss performance points. Among them, the top 10 warriors will be invited to the world's #1 martial arts competition. The top 3 will directly enter the main competition, and the top 8 will enter the preliminaries. The top 100 warriors will be qualified to participate in the East Asian Martial Arts Throne Championship and the World Martial Arts Open Championship. They do not need to participate in the preliminaries and can directly enter the main competition. Of course, warriors ranked after the 100th place can also sign up for the 2 competitions, but they must start from the preliminaries, which started this spring. Well, warriors who are interested in the league have already signed up to participate in addition to participating in the league, while warriors who have good personal performance in the league naturally did not participate. Anyway, they can use the league to participate in the 3 major leagues. If their record can squeeze into the top 8, they can also get an invitation to the world's #1 martial arts competition. With the linkage between the first-class martial arts league and the world's top 3 martial arts competitions, China has been in turmoil for a while, and both the sports and entertainment circles have paid attention to the martial arts competition circle. However, in the small home of number 903, Yunlu Garden City F, everything is still calm and warm as usual. Now Wu Jiantao is very relaxed whether he is working in the martial arts department of M University or doing daily research and commercial work in the team. Of course, this ease is relative. If an ordinary person looks at it, wow, it seems like there is so little work to do and the working hours are so short, it's really easy. However, if they truly understood the cruelty of the martial arts world, they would know what this ease was based on. Practicing day after day, cultivating year after year, no matter it is the effort in the mind or in the strength, it is not something that can be accomplished in a short period of time. Wu Jiantao's martial arts were able to advance by leaps and bounds because he was originally a tiger. Otherwise, he would never be where he is today. It was not just the help of the system in his mind, but also the fact that he had been practicing martial arts very hard since he was a child under the influence of his parents, and even learned the yin-yang, 5 elements, and Chinese medicine theories from his grandfather for several years. Both of these laid an extremely deep foundation for his martial arts development. In the early morning of that day, a streak of dawn appeared in the eastern sky. As soon as the whole sky was bright, Chen Jun woke up very naturally on the bed. Sandu. Before she opened her eyes completely, she gently turned over and stretched out her arms, as white as lotus roots, to embrace the person next to her. The wave of her hand actually missed, and she immediately opened her eyes and found that Wu Jiantao was no longer by her side. "Oh, where are the people?" Chen Jun stood up and stretched, her body curved in a blushing and heart-pounding curve. If Wu Jiantao was right beside her, he would definitely pounce on her. I feel a little sleepy. Well, this is because I completed the one-handed peacock pose with the help of my husband last night. We have been practicing this yoga pose for quite a long time, which makes me still a little sleepy now. However, Chen Jun took a long breath, exhaled a long breath, and took a deep abdominal breath. His whole spirit and energy slowly opened up. This morning's yoga practice will focus on recovery. Last night's practice was a bit strong. Today's practice is focused on tranquility and recovery. Otherwise, the body will not be able to bear it. Chen Jun blushed as she thought about today's training. She walked to the closet and began to change into loose and soft training clothes. Originally, she had special yoga clothes, but because the clothes were too tight, she was unable to concentrate on her practice of standing meditation. After several accidents, she changed into loose training clothes. After changing clothes, Chen Jun turned around and looked at Daodu and Miao. Their diapers were very dry. They must have been changed by her husband when he got up just now. At this time, the two little ones were sleeping soundly and showed no intention of waking up. Although they are now 1 year old, they still sleep a long time every day, at least 14 to 15 hours. Now they basically wake up at 6 or 7 in the morning and then sleep for another hour or two around 9 or 10. After lunch, they sleep a little longer in the afternoon, basically about 2 to 3 hours. Occasionally, if they don't sleep in the morning, they will concentrate on sleeping in the afternoon. The longest sleep time is at night, usually starting from around 9:30 to 10:00 and waking up at 6 or 7:00 the next morning. The overall sleep time is about 10 to 12 hours. Chapter 238 Encounter. Please subscribe and vote tilde. Tab. Chen Jun walked lightly in soft slippers and came to the living room outside the bedroom. The air was filled with a faint aroma that made people swallow their saliva. It was the smell of steamed dumplings, steamed buns, and dumplings in the kitchen. When she looked outside, she saw her husband standing on the balcony as expected, with his center of gravity very low and his posture very even. Chen Jun was slightly stunned. She had also practiced this standing posture and had persisted for more than 20 minutes at most. This was not just standing there to persist, but the process of standing there was moving the qi and blood throughout the body, and the body was slightly floating, rather than standing there without knowing what was going on. Because of the floating and the need to move qi and blood, the difficulty of this standing meditation is not the sum of 1 plus 1, but the superposition of difficulties from 1 to 10 or even 100. This stance exercise is specifically designed to increase qi and blood as well as strength. In simple terms, it is specifically used to improve your skills. Standing far away and watching her husband practicing the stance, Chen Jun could see that his body was rising and falling very slightly. His steps were extremely steady, and his whole body looked strangely light, making her feel like a pine tree on a high mountain, swaying gently in the wind. Wu Jiantao has been standing on this square pole for several days in a row. Although he has always been very calm towards himself and the two babies, she has clearly felt it since the A-League entered the playoffs. My husband has changed. To be more precise, the martial arts spirit that had always been extremely restrained and peaceful now seemed like a terrible volcano that could erupt at any time and place. On this point, her experience is quite profound. At this moment, Wu Jiantao on the balcony closed his eyes and concentrated, as if he did not notice his wife coming out. His body rose and fell slightly, but he still stood there motionless, as firm as a mountain. Chen Jun did not rush forward to disturb him, but turned around and took the yoga mat from the corner, unfolded it, lay down on it, and began to practice restorative cultivation. In tacit understanding, the couple each began their morning practice. After an unknown amount of time, Wu Jiantao finally slowly opened his eyes, and at the same time, an extremely long breath blew out of his mouth. Cold. A wave blew from the balcony into the living room, and the branches and leaves of the green plants on the side were rustling. He stood up slowly, his eyes sparkling, and walked into the living room with light and steady steps. The unstoppable surging aura in his body quickly became restrained and calm. Okay, morning practice is over. Time to prepare breakfast. In the living room, his lovely wife was still motionless, her stretched body twisting and turning with beautiful and moving curves. He couldn't help but admire it a few more times. Instead of going up to disturb her, he walked past her and went to the kitchen. After concentrating and feeling the master bedroom, Wu Jiantao clearly heard two slightly thin and long breaths. Well, the two little guys were still sleeping soundly and showed no signs of waking up. Today's breakfast is noodle soup, steamed buns and red steamed buns, Eating noodle soup without fried dough sticks is soulless. Wu Jiantao turned off the gas under the steamer, turned around and said to Chen Jun in the living room, "I'll go buy some fried dough sticks and be back soon." Oh. Chen Jun, who was practicing Tibetan yoga in the living room, was stunned and couldn't help but look up, but Wu Jiantao just smiled and waved at her, then turned and walked out. Don't blame her for being weird. After all, her husband's cooking skills have always been that he can make everything by himself, so there's no need to go out and buy. But on second thought, she understood that after all, the fried dough sticks had to be boiled in the frying pan, and if it was just the couple eating, there was really no need to waste so much oil. Here she continued to practice her morning lessons with her eyes closed, while Wu Jiantao had already come downstairs. The early morning at the end of June was very cool. The sun had just risen from the east, and the cool air in the air quickly sank down, condensing into dew on the grass by the roadside and the leaves of the trees. In the garden of the community downstairs, some people were already running along the fairly spacious asphalt road. There were middle-aged people as well as young men and women, all wearing sportswear, running past Wu Jiantao with light steps. To be honest, even though I get up early every day and practice martial arts, I rarely go downstairs to walk around. One is martial arts training. The skill of long breath can be practiced through standing meditation and corresponding breathing methods. There is no need for running. The second reason is naturally, because the two little ones need someone to take care of them. If Chen Jun goes running on his own, he may not be able to handle the two little ones. Dab tab. He walked in this green garden full of the scent of grass and trees, his heart at ease. Soon Wu Jiantao walked out of the community gate and came to a breakfast shop. He picked up a few fried dough sticks, packed them up, and then scanned the QR code to pay. At this time, there were already quite a lot of people sitting at the tables and chairs in front of the breakfast shop, including elderly people, young men and women, and even a blonde-haired, blue-eyed foreign youth who was looking at the food in front of him with curiosity. It looked like he was eating Chinese breakfast food for the first time. Wu Jiantao was about to turn around and go back with the packaged fried dough sticks, when suddenly his brows twitched and he turned around to look at the foreign young man. This failing. Are they martial artists? No. According to the Western martial arts community, they call themselves fighters rather than martial artists. Well, this is because the East and the West have very different martial arts traditions, so their understanding and definitions are naturally very different. In terms of martial arts, the East has endowed it with the connotation of Tao. In the course of thousands of years of development and evolution, it has successively integrated Taoism, Buddhism, and even Confucianism, several major mainstream philosophical thoughts in China, and has contained extremely rich cultural connotations. However, in the Western martial arts community, it is considered a purely fighting method. Among the major martial arts schools, only Kendo has some religious cultural background. The other schools have always pursued the purest and most essential methods of fighting and killing. Therefore, most fighters from the West rely on their natural physique and muscles to hone themselves in the most simple and essential way, striving for the fastest, strongest, and most violent explosive attack. From this perspective, Western fighting styles have a lot of flavor from the Chinese martial arts philosophy that all martial arts are indestructible except for speed. As for the artistic conception level, the path taken by Western fighters is also different. It is not a path of combining spirit and mind, but a condensation of spiritual will that is pure heart and has no other method. Most of the spiritual realms are achieved through fighting or even killing. Of course, some schools also combine religious meditation to develop a more special path of martial arts practice. Chapter 239, Being Underestimated. Please subscribe and vote for me, Tilda. Hey. Seeing that Wu Jiantao noticed him, the Western youth immediately looked up and nodded to him. Wu Jiantao nodded to the other party as well, then turned and left, feeling somewhat puzzled. This person seems to know me. Besides, it seems like the other party is coming for me. What? Soon, Wu Jiantao found out what was going on. Well, as the 8th in the individual performance points list of the Chinese Martial Arts League A, he received an official notification email from the league regarding the format of the playoffs, which also included an invitation letter to the world's #1 martial arts competition. The email clearly stated that the format of the preliminary round of the world's #1 martial arts tournament for the 5 warriors ranked 4th to 8th on the list would be for them to select their own targets and challenge their own opponents. As long as they won 3 games, they would be able to enter the main competition. At the same time, warriors who have been defeated or have won 3 duels cumulatively will be considered contestants who cannot be challenged again. The former was eliminated, while the latter has successfully advanced to the main competition. The preliminary round will last for a month from July 3rd to August 3rd. During this month, the warriors invited to the competition will also receive the addresses of all the contestants. If they want to challenge their opponents, they can just go to their homes to challenge them. When the challenge competition is in progress, there will be official personnel from the event to conduct a live broadcast and film it, which will be simultaneously broadcast live on major international media platforms. As for how the challenging warrior and the challenged warrior fight, that's what's written on the invitation letter, as long as it doesn't violate the law. In other words, if the two parties in a duel sign a contract for a life and death fight, then it is allowed to have a duel that determines both the winner and the loser. But generally speaking, such a life and death duel rarely occurs, unless the two parties have an irreconcilable hatred. Moreover, if one party has clearly indicated through gestures or words that he or she has given up, then the other party must not continue to fight. In this kind of competition, if one party admits defeat and the other party continues to attack and kills the person, then even if the two parties have signed a fight to the death contract before the competition, the warrior who kills the other opponent in the arena will be criminally detained and face extremely strict legal criminal prosecution. Wu Jiantao opened the invitation letter in the email on his mobile phone and looked at the list of contestants. He immediately saw the information of the blonde-haired young man. He is from the United States. His real name is too long to write, so people usually call him Joe. His record in past international martial arts competitions is also quite impressive. He once made it to the top 32 of the world's #1 martial arts tournament and entered the World Martial Arts Tournament. These achievements were not reflected in the attached list, but were directly searched by Wu Jiantao on his mobile phone. At 0903, Chen Jun, who had just finished her morning class, sat down at the table and was chewing on a fried dough stick. She had just learned from her husband about the world's #1 martial arts competition. Also, the fact that the contestant named Kaio came here so early shows that he already knew the format of the world #1 martial arts contest qualifiers through some channels. Isn't there still more than a week left? Why is he coming here so early? Chen Jun asked doubtfully. Wu Jiantao was also a little puzzled. Yes, why did this guy come here so early? Suddenly, he thought of a possibility. Could it be? At this moment, a pleasant doorbell rang from the direction of the gate. Ding dongs, ding dong. Wu Jiantao shook his head slightly. If he was right. I'll go open the door, you eat yours. With a casual wave of his hand, he signaled his wife to continue eating breakfast. Then he got up from his seat, walked out of the restaurant, passed through the entrance hall and opened the door. Hello, are you Mr. Wu Jiantao? But I saw a foreign young man in a suit and tie with neatly combed hair standing politely and looking at me with a smile. I am you art. Hello, have you received the invitation letter for the preliminaries of the world's #1 martial arts competition? I got it. Okay, I'm contestant Joe's martial arts assistant. He told me that you two had already met this morning. As he spoke, the martial arts assistant respectfully took out a note from his briefcase and handed it over. It clearly reads, the world's #1 martial arts competition. Challenge letter. Okay, I'll take it. Wu Jiantao chuckled and took the challenge letter from the other party. He had no choice but to accept it. According to the rules of the #1 martial arts competition, if he did not accept it, he would be directly judged as the loser, and the other party would directly win one game. Okay. The martial arts assistant bowed very respectfully and said, my mission is completed. I will take my leave now. Wu Jiantao closed the door and returned to the dining table, where he sat down. He casually placed the letter of challenge on the table, without even looking at it, and continued to enjoy his delicious breakfast. This is... Chen Jun was stunned, and quickly took the challenge letter and opened it. Well, the preliminaries of the world's #1 martial arts competition will officially begin on July 3, and this martial arts fighter named Kaio Zifeng has scheduled the challenge between the two of them on the afternoon of that day, at the gymnasium in City F. He took the approach of an open challenge. In other words, in addition to the official on-site filming of the event, well-known domestic and foreign media will also be invited to the scene to conduct simultaneous online live broadcasts. Such a big scene. Chen Jun was a little surprised. She opened the challenge letter and handed it to her husband. How much do you know about this fighter named Kaio? You should study his fighting videos, right? As the saying goes, knowing yourself and your enemy ensures victory in 100 battles. Researching your opponent before a match shows respect for your opponent and that you should take the competition seriously. Yes, I will. As he was speaking, Wu Jiantao's cell phone suddenly rang. He picked it up and saw that it was his cousin Yuan Huang. Hey, cousin. Xiao Tao, you also received the invitation letter, right? Wu Jiantao nodded, his expression slightly changed. Could it be that? Have you received the challenge letter as well? That's right, if it was just this matter, Yuan Huang wouldn't have called him. He could have just sent him a WeChat message to ask. The fact that he called him directly meant that the treatment he received must be good. You too, Yuan Huang on the opposite side immediately asked back in surprise. Who is it? A fighter from the beautiful country named Zhou from the Grusa school. His past record is quite strong. How about you? A European fighter named Grin, who is a classical martial artist. I'm studying his past match videos. Well, he's pretty good and has strong explosive power. Haha, it's really interesting. It seems that we have really been underestimated. Chapter 240, the opening battle begins. Cousin, should we discuss targeting them internally? After all, we should despise them strategically, but pay more attention to them tactically. What? Your challenger named Zhou is very strong. Fine. That's it, we've only just started now. At least we can wait until the main competition starts. By the way, cousin, didn't you rank first and enter the main competition directly? How did you receive the challenge? Oh, this is the opening match at the opening ceremony. It's a warm-up match. If you win, you'll get points. If you lose, you won't lose points. Opening warm-up match. He called on the first place in the individual performance points list of the China A-League to play right away. Wu Jiantao was stunned. Did the martial arts circles in Europe and the United States really want to see the skills of the top masters among the Chinese youth? In fact, he still doesn't know enough about international martial arts competitions. Nowadays, capital is deeply involved, especially in top global events like the world's #1 martial arts competition. This event has been operated by international capital from the very beginning. As for the so-called cross-kendo masters and fighting masters from the West, they are just their spokesmen. As for why the #1 martial arts competition in the world was conducted in this way, to put it bluntly, I just want to enter China and open up the martial arts competition market here. You know, even though the global martial arts competition circle has only been commercialized for a short period of 10 years, all operations are modeled after football and basketball. The economic benefits and profits it brings are so huge that it has long been a hunting ground for international capital. Now that the Chinese martial arts community is organizing this first-class league to go abroad and make Chinese martial arts have an international and even global influence, then it is just right that they can take this opportunity to pry open up the huge Chinese market that is very large and full of potential. Wu Jiantao was not very clear about these and was too lazy to think about them. Even if he knew this, he would just laugh it off. In the end, it's the fists that speak. Just fight and win is the winner. Another week has passed, and soon it is July 3rd. On this morning, Chen Jun also got up at around 5 o'clock, but saw her husband still standing on the balcony. Aren't there going to be a game today? Why is it so wasteful to stand on the pile? Why not stand in Hunyuan posture? Wouldn't it be better to maintain the body in peak condition? Chen Jun frowned slightly, worrying that her husband might be too arrogant and make the mistake of being arrogant and underestimating the enemy. Although she was very clear about her husband's martial arts strength, it was better not to underestimate the enemy. You know, even a lion will use all its strength to fight a rabbit. However, he was practicing martial arts at the moment, so she didn't say anything at this time, so as not to disturb him. She would remind him after the game was over. After finishing today's morning practice, Wu Jiantao had breakfast with Chen Jun and then took care of the two babies. He was still exactly the same as usual, as if today was not a major competition day. Hubby, aren't you nervous at all? In the end, Chen Jun couldn't help but ask this question. As soon as she said it, she regretted it. Wasn't she just adding pressure to her husband for nothing? Nervous, not bad. Upon hearing this, Wu Jiantao was stunned at first, then replied with a faint smile. He thought Chen Jun was just like him and could always be very calm about it, but he didn't expect that she would be nervous at this time. Is it because this competition is closely related to you? At just 8:30 in the morning, the opening ceremony of the third global #1 martial arts competition officially began. Wu Jiantao and Chen Jun both sat in front of the TV and started watching the live broadcast. The opening ceremony was naturally not held in China, but in an ancient capital in Europe. As for the two opening warm-up matches, they were not held at the opening ceremony. A duel between a fighting master from the United States and a taekwondo master from the Han country. The other match, located in F City, M province in southeastern China, is a match between the top scorer in the Chinese martial arts A-League individual points list and a European master. As for the time, the game in the United States will be from 9:30 to 10:30, while the game in China will be from 10:30 to 11:30. At this time, watching the opening ceremony online, the schedule of the opening match was immediately hotly discussed on various sports and martial arts forums and Weibo. Oh my, we are actually still the finale. Haha, wake up, the guy above. There's never been a concept called the finale in Western competitions. The best and brightest are always placed in the front, while the inferior ones are placed in the back. That's true. It seems that it will not be easy for our Chinese martial arts to gain a foothold in the international competition arena. Yes, the opponent that Yuan Huang met today is Green, who is known as an all-round master. Whether it is weapon combat or fighting combat, he is very powerful. I don't know whether they chose a weapons battle or a combat battle today. The challenger is Green. He has the right to choose the form of the duel. I think he will most likely choose a weapon fight. His cross swordsmanship has a much higher chance of winning than a melee fight. Compared to a melee fight, his swordsmanship is obviously stronger. Indeed, there is no weapon battle in our domestic martial arts competitions. Maybe they are afraid of getting injured. Alas, the road ahead is long and arduous. After the grand opening ceremony that showcased the ancient European martial arts style, the time quickly came to 9:20. The camera directly switched from the opening ceremony in the European Augusta City to the F-City Stadium in China's M province. Wow, we can see two contestants entering the scene now. Welcome our almighty master, Grin. He is a milestone in the development of our European classical school. With his simple sword skills and lightning-fast punches and kicks, he tells us that our classical martial arts school has never been outdated. The wisdom of our predecessors has always been guiding us and enlightening us. Let us once again welcome our hero, Grian, with warm applause. Wow, beep beep. The audience from home and abroad cheered enthusiastically, and the loud noise almost blew off the roof of the entire stadium. At the same time, Yuan Huang also came on the stage. The on-site host's explanation is relatively simple. Similarly, let us also give a warm round of applause to welcome the first person on the Chinese martial arts A-League individual points list, Yuan Huang. At this time, only some domestic audiences applauded and cheered, which was really insignificant compared to the long-established Green. Chapter 241 What? Please subscribe and vote tilde. Okay, let's see what form of fighting Grin will take today. Okay, he made his choice. He walked to the weapon rack and took down a cross sword. He chose weapon fighting. This classical warrior, who is honored as the almighty grandmaster, took down the cross sword, and the camera immediately zoomed in to give a close-up of his entire body. From his three-dimensional and deep eyebrows to his weathered beard, to his broad shoulders and waist that form a perfect inverted triangle physique, his long legs, and the classical light armor he wears, he looks simple and natural, low-key and domineering. Putting the cross sword on his waist and pressing his right palm on the hilt, the almighty master walked down the arena with steady steps. A faint aura spread out, and the overwhelming aura stunned all the audience friends at the scene and even in front of the TV at once. No matter it was the martial arts fans in China or the audiences from abroad, they all held their breath involuntarily at this moment. Wow, I'm a fan, so cool. This kind of aura, when he looked at the camera, I didn't dare to sit still. It felt like he might attack me at any time. It was so scary. This aura is so strong. He is indeed worthy of being called a master. Alas, when will our Chinese warriors be able to reach this level? In comparison, our Yuan Huang is so plain and simple. He doesn't seem to have any weapons with him. It seems so. Wait a minute, let's listen to what the on-site commentator says. At this time, the camera turned to the other side of the arena and saw Yuan Huang seem to be talking to a person in charge of the weapons area, while the person in charge waved his hands while talking and finally spread his hands as if to express that he was powerless. The commentator did not stand at the commentary desk to speak, but came to their side to understand the situation and show everyone the transparency and fairness of this competition. May I ask what happened? Mr. Yuan needs us to provide weapons like guns, but we only have swords, cross swords, two-handed swords, broadswords, miao dao, etc. We can't temporarily provide him with weapons like long spears that are unique to China. The weapons officer said speechlessly. Don't you know the various weapons of Chinese martial arts? Why didn't you prepare any Chinese weapons before the game? The commentator was straightforward and pointed out the point directly. Yes, we know that there are more than 18 kinds of Chinese weapons, but we only have short weapons in our competition field now. Long weapons are used by soldiers, not knights and warriors. To ensure the fairness of the competition, We only keep the short weapons among the Chinese weapons. The person in charge said righteously, I am also following the rules of the world's #1 martial arts competition. I hope Mr. Yuan will understand. Well, these weapons on the scene are all made of special materials. They can only cause minor injuries when slashed or stabbed into the human body, but their weight can be guaranteed to be similar to that of real weapons. Of course, this weapon can still cause fatal injuries, but it takes several strikes to achieve the effect. As for the stabbing technique, the tip of the sword has been specially treated and has no actual killing power. During the competition, when the sword tip pierces the opponent's body, artificial intelligence modeling will be performed on the spot to simulate the situation when the real human body is pierced in this part. If a fighter's arm is stabbed, the referee will arrange for the stabbed fighter to be bandaged, which is equivalent to reducing his condition and restoring his true condition as much as possible, and then the competition will continue. And if a vital point is stabbed, the winner will be decided immediately without the need for further competition. In room 903 of Building 11, Yun Liyuan, Chen Jun frowned, turned to look at her husband beside her, and asked a question. Brother Yuan, doesn't he know how to use a sword? Why does he need a spear? I can do it, but I'm not an expert. Wu Jiantao shook his head. Our Xinyiquan is originally a boxing style derived from spear techniques on the battlefield. For example, you see. As he spoke, he stood up and performed a three-body stance from Xinyiquan, with his left hand pushed forward in front of his chest, and his right palm held loosely and pressed down. If the two palms are in a clenched position, does this posture resemble a soldier on the battlefield, holding the gun body with his left hand and the gun tail with his right hand? Our Xinyiquan training has been a spear technique since the beginning. This is the training method that our martial arts ancestors have continuously summarized on the battlefield, just like the most basic horse stance. Why do we need horse stance? Of course, it is because the warhorse and cavalry combined together form the powerful force of cavalry. So that's how it is, Chen Jun suddenly realized. That is to say, the birth and development of our Chinese martial arts all originated from the development and changes on the ancient battlefield, and it also integrated our Taoist, Buddhist, and Confucian philosophical thoughts to form a way of practice. That's right. Wu Jiantao watched the host on TV, explaining that the reason why Yuan Huang could not be provided with the spear weapon was to ensure the fairness of the competition. This is too far-fetched. Chen Jun was stunned. Just because a spear is longer than a sword, it's unfair. Not really, Wu Jiantao laughed. Didn't the person in charge of weapons just say that? It's because spears are only weapons used by soldiers in the West, not weapons used by knights and heroes in duels. Compared to the stunned silence of the martial arts community, the vast majority of the audience at the event and in front of the TV actually accepted this explanation. Contestant Yuan seems to be very dissatisfied. He is, oh no, oh my god, he actually walked into the arena empty-handed. He chose not to bring any weapons. The commentator at the scene was stunned. He said to the camera with a stunned look on his face, I have to say, this is a very irrational decision, but no matter what, when he steps onto the fighting field, the fighting will begin. Following the referee's announcement, Grian rushed forward and raised the hilt of the sword with his right hand. Just as he was about to perform his most proud sword-drawing technique, his eyes suddenly went dark. In a gust of wind and waves, when he saw the person in front of him clearly, he just pulled out the cross sword but was pushed back. What? Grin stepped back subconsciously and tried to draw his sword with his right hand, but as his right hand was pushed back to draw the sword, bang, his left eye was hit hard by a punch, and his mind went blank. As a result, he was also punched in the right eye. Young man, you have no moral principles. Bang, another punch. Boom, Grain lay straight on the ground. A circle of dust was visibly raised on the fighting field. To all the audience friends at the scene, and even in front of the TV. At this moment, there was complete silence. Chapter 242, Like a Little Cutie. Please subscribe and vote for me. Just, what the hell is that? The host, who had just given a thorough explanation at the commentary desk, had not yet started his explanation. He was just introducing the characteristics of Grin's swordsmanship in the first 3 swords. What about the 3 consecutive stabs that ordinary people could hardly block the moment he drew his sword? What about the 3 stabs that involved extremely mysterious force-generating techniques and contained extremely powerful explosive power? And then there was nothing else. At this moment, he looked at the situation in the arena and blurted out these words. Thank you for your generous gift. Valhalla. The next moment, the cameraman heard the director's roar in his earphones, and the camera instantly switched to the live commentator. Okay, we can see that a small incident just happened in the arena. maybe we should watch the replay. Immediately, the image on the TV screen began to replay. It is indeed a high-definition camera that can shoot Formula One racing, capturing the movements of the two people on the scene clearly. In the 8K level video, all the audience, whether they were at the scene or watching on TV, could see it clearly. At the moment when the almighty master, Grian, raised his right hand to hold the hilt of the sword, a figure suddenly appeared in front of him. At the critical moment, the camera switched to Yuan Huang's perspective, and he lowered his body and stomped his feet suddenly. The extremely solid floor of the arena was actually broken by him in an instant. Then the camera moves closer to the two people and simultaneously goes into slow motion with details. Yuan Huang raised his left hand lightly, pressed it down casually, and pushed back the opponent's sword. At the same time, he raised his right hand and punched out. In Yunlu Gardens 903, Chen Jun laughed so hard that she collapsed into a ball, lying in Wu Jiangtao's arms and unable to get up. Not only her, but also the audience watching the slow-motion video on the big screen and the audience in front of the TV all burst into laughter at the same time. Well, this punch was actually okay. The key was the second punch, which instantly created a panda eye on the spot. These two purple eyes, coupled with someone's shocked and confused expression, are really too funny. The audience around the arena were laughing so hard that the whole scene got out of control. We are not professionals. We will definitely laugh at you. Forehead. The host who was doing the on-site commentary boasted that he was also an old hermaphrodite who had been commentating on martial arts competitions for more than 10 years. He was an experienced live commentator, but he had never encountered such a situation. But he reacted quickly. He stood up immediately and called on the audience at the scene and in front of the TV. Please stop laughing for a moment. No, please stay calm. Our on-site referee team will start the procedure to judge the entire process of the game. At this moment, many middle-aged and elderly people, who were dressed very elegantly and had very extraordinary demeanor, gathered together at the referee's position and had a very heated discussion. At the same time, Green's agent was also there, arguing with them about something. The camera zoomed in and the voice spread. This is a despicable sneak attack. If you have the guts, let Grian draw his sword and fight to the death. In Europe, whether it's fencing, fighting, or a life-and-death duel with a gun, there has never been a practice of not allowing the opponent to draw a sword or a gun. It's simply shameless. Since this world's best martial arts competition was initiated by us, the free and democrat Europe, we should respect our culture and traditions and let Grian draw his sword and compete again. But Green's agent was pointing at the group of referees in front of him, gesticulating and talking non-stop, with saliva flying in the air. The audience at the scene hadn't heard it yet, but the audience in front of the TV, especially the martial arts fans, were all stunned. This Nema. What does it mean to take out the sword and then decide the outcome? What does it mean to not allow the opponent to draw the sword or gun? Please, we are all adults. Can you please stop acting like cute little girls and making us feel so embarrassed? However, the agent of this all-round master was not finished yet and continued to say this, using a metaphor that sounded quite reasonable but was actually confusing. The key to a duel is that it involves two people. The whole process is like dancing tango. A duel is the coordination of two people during a dance. Grain hasn't even used his swordsmanship, so it can't be considered a duel. In room 903 of Building 11, Yunliyuan, Chen Jun had laughed enough. She fanned her red cheeks with her hands and looked at her husband beside her speechlessly. Does this count as not being able to afford to lose? Should this be removed? Wu Jiangtao shook his head speechlessly. Although they had thought of the gap when they started to study the inner qualities, they had to more or less match them to know the difference, but they had never expected the gap to be so big. Soon, after more than 10 minutes of discussion, the referee team directly rejected the brainless excuse of Green's agent. You are so shameless. We old bones still have our dignity to protect. Of course, their verdict still does not count the result of the game. The reason is also very legitimate. Our world's #1 martial arts competition is fair and just. How can there be such an unequal competition between martial artists with weapons and martial artists with bare hands? Not counting. Do it again. Then they gave Yuan Huang an answer on the spot. You can either pick up any weapon in the weapons area and go on stage to compete again, or you can ask Green to put down the crossed sword in his hand and compete again. Yuan Huang. In the previous match, he was fighting barehanded while his opponent was fighting with swords, so he burst out with all his strength right from the start. He took advantage of the fact that his opponent did not have a clear understanding of his own strength and suppressed his opponent with his speed, not giving him a chance to draw his sword. If this opponent were still fighting with him with a sword in hand, he would most likely not be able to get close to the opponent after being prepared. Fortunately, the tournament officials still had some shame. Although they were clearly leaning towards Green, they did not let the two of them fight again. Instead, they gave Yuan Huang a way out and let Green fight him in a fistfight without weapons to decide the outcome. When the all-powerful Grandmaster Gren stepped into the arena again wearing goggles, he was greeted with boos, cheers, and encouragement. Lo, Hua. Grain, come on, defeat that despicable guy. Ha 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 ha, this guy is actually wearing goggles. This makes me laugh to death. The boos and jeers came from the audience in China, while the encouragement and applause came from his fans in Europe. This fair and just game started again, and then, with a snap, Yuan Huang won without any suspense. The creative source of the words said by Green's agent in this article is: on April 27, Bill Nelson, the administrator of NASA, accused China's space program of lack of transparency and willingness to cooperate proactively. When China launched a space station, the first stage of the booster rocket fell in the Indian Ocean, and China did not share tracking data with the United States or other countries. Director Nielsen also made a strange analogy. China did not take the initiative to propose cooperation. It takes two to tango. This metaphor makes me feel so embarrassed. We are all adults. Why should we act like little cuties? What does not actively offering cooperation mean? Does it mean you are hypocritical, or do you mean you are shameless? Yes, it takes two people to dance tango, but the two people have to be a man and a woman. Sister, please put on your skirt first. China is not taking the initiative, so why don't you take the initiative? Your waist should be soft, your hips should be open, and your expression should be in place. Source: Prince Pingyuan. Chapter 243, Take It. Please subscribe and vote for me, Tilda. Well, without any preparation or defense, this Grandmaster was directly knocked away by Yuan Huang's half-step collapse move and fell to the ground and rolled 5 or 6 meters away, unable to get up in an instant. Until this moment, martial arts fans from all over the world in the stadium and in front of the TV finally realized that the young man named Yuan Huang's previous pinning of Green so that he couldn't draw his sword was definitely not a sneak attack or a fluke. This is clearly a display of absolute strength. How is that possible? In a box above the gymnasium, a fat man who was sitting on a chair and looked like a small mountain suddenly stood up and stared at the arena with a look of astonishment. The referee raised his right hand to indicate the winner, Yuan Huang. Quick, pull up the video of the match right away and have someone analyze his speed and strength. He suddenly lowered his head and looked at the graceful woman squatting in front of him. He said coldly, also, compare his data with Satan, who has the strongest performance in our current evaluation. I want to know what is the chance of Satan winning against him. Yes. The woman immediately stood up, took a tissue to wipe her mouth, and hurried away. Damn it, the middle-aged man, who was 2 meters tall and as fat as a hill, paced back and forth in the room anxiously. Although he had not practiced martial arts for many years, and his punches and kicks were not very good, his vision was still there. If the first duel could be explained by the excuse that Green was not careful enough and was taken advantage of by the opponent, then in the second duel, Yuan Huang defeated him with just one punch. That was totally unacceptable. This shows that the gap in strength between the two is as big as the difference between a strong adult and a 3-year-old child. What made him most unhappy was that this time, the cooperation with the Chinese Class A Martial Arts League was originally intended to open up the consumer market of the Chinese domestic martial arts competition circle, but he didn't expect. The other party gave him a big surprise right from the start. No, strictly speaking, the Chinese martial arts community has already achieved their goal. With just this clean and decisive victory, Chinese martial arts will surely once again spark a kung fu craze around the world. This will not be the kind of craze that was stolen by the Han and Wying countries, but will recreate the kind of wave that Li Feilong created in the Western world. No, we cannot allow this situation to occur. We must curb it. Otherwise, the major top-level competitions that have been hard-won in the international martial arts economic circle over the years will inevitably become pastures for the Chinese martial arts community to run wild. Yuan Huang is famous. Less than 30 minutes after the game ended, topics about him were on the headlines of major online platforms. Some personal information and circumstances about him also spread rapidly on the internet. As a result, Wu Jiantao, who started the competition in the afternoon, also became popular. Martial arts fans in China are all going crazy. Various posts and short videos of comments are posted on major media on the internet. At the same time, some martial arts internet celebrities are popularizing the martial arts world's definition of strength. More passers-by have paid attention to these and have a clearer understanding of the strength of domestic martial arts fighters. At lunchtime, when Li Ziaoshan called her bestie to share the good news, Wu Jiantao was feeding the baby lunch. I know, I watched the live broadcast. Chen Jun felt helpless as he listened to Li Ziaoshan chattering excitedly across from him. Haha, our Dawang said that the guy named Cairo this afternoon is probably no match for your husband. Tell him to come on, you must win beautifully. Yes, I will. After hanging up the phone, Chen Jun shook his head and looked at his sister, who was eating with her mouth full and couldn't help laughing. After lunch, there were still more than 2 hours before the competition, but Wu Jiantao didn't seem to be ready to leave at all. Okay, I can take care of Daodu and Maomeo by myself. You should go quickly, otherwise you will be late. Chen Jun turned him around with a reproachful look and pushed him towards the gate. Wu Jiantao was somewhat helpless. It's okay, I can just leave half an hour earlier. We are not far from the stadium. No needs, you should go earlier. The earlier you go, the earlier you can come back. Wu Jiantao turned around and looked at the two little guys standing in the crib in the living room, holding onto the guardrail and staring at him with their big black eyes. Naoya, Daddy. They kept waving their hands here, as if they wanted to say something, with a little anxiety on their faces. Seeing these two lovely little angels, Wu Jiantao's heart was filled with warmth. After parking the car in the parking lot outside the gymnasium, Wu Jiantao, wearing very ordinary sportswear and a mask, came to the gymnasium gate. Your ticket, please. Because he was wearing a mask, the security guard at the gate did not recognize him. Wu Jiantao took out the challenge from his pocket and handed it over. The other side. The blonde-haired and blue-eyed Joe was holding a document and looking at it seriously. In front of him, his agent was talking with a look of annoyance on his face. After a comprehensive analysis of Yuan Huang by our team this morning, we determined that his strength and speed are even stronger than last year's champion Satan. As his teammate, your opponent this afternoon, Wu Jiantao is definitely not weak. You must be careful. If you can't defeat him, just admit defeat. Don't forget that you made it into the top 32 of the world's #1 martial arts competition last year. One defeat is not enough to eliminate you. Right. Although what the agent said made sense and was very pertinent and was the most suitable for him, Joe still showed a lot of reluctance on his face at this moment. Damn it, I thought I could easily win after issuing the challenge first. Never mind, don't think too much about it. Just hope he is far inferior to the captain of the Tiger Roar team. After a long silence, Joe had to force himself not to think too much. He waved his hand to let his agent leave the lounge, and then entered into meditation. What? The live broadcast of the game was cancelled. Around 2 p.m., many martial arts fans in China logged into the official website of the world's #1 martial arts competition, hoping to watch the afternoon's live broadcast. However, when they opened the webpage, they were shocked to find that the official reminder of the event, due to technical reasons, the live broadcast of the fight between fighting Prince Caio and Wu Jiantao in the afternoon, cancelled. At this time, both sides of the competition had already started entering the competition field in the gymnasium. Jiang Tao. Hua. On the field, two warriors stood face to face, and the referee was in place. The game begins. As soon as he finished speaking, Caio suddenly appeared in front of Wu Jiantao and fiercely slashed at his neck with his knife. Wu Jiantao simply took a step forward and made his knife attack miss. He allowed his wrist to hit his left shoulder, and at the same time he moved his right shoulder forward and leaned forward fiercely. Wu family's Xiniaquan bear backer. Duang. The next moment, Caio was thrown high into the air, flying horizontally for 5 or 6 meters in the air, and then rolled another 3 or 4 meters on the ground. The whole scene was silent for a few seconds. Even the referee was stunned for a moment. Then he immediately reacted and ran over to take a look. Luckily, he was still alive. Chapter 244, Aftermath. Please subscribe and vote tilde. Medical team, quick. Hulala. A group of people immediately rushed in from outside the field, lifted up the unconscious Joe on the ground, put him on a stretcher, and walked out in a hurry. On the other side, Wu Jiantao stood on the field, waved to the audience, and accepted their thunderous applause and cheers. When leaving the gymnasium, Wu Jiantao put on his ordinary sportswear and cleverly climbed over the wall at the back door of the gymnasium, giving no chance for reporters from home and abroad to block him. When he got outside, he changed into an ordinary outfit and wore a mask, so no one noticed him at all. So this rising martial arts star, who had won a very valuable victory, returned to his car, and drove away without anyone noticing. The reporters waited here for a long time and blocked the front and back doors for a long time, but there was no sign of him, and finally they had to return disappointed. In fact, for many powerful reporters in China, Wu Jiangtao's address is no secret to them. The reason why they don't go to his house is that this martial arts star is different from ordinary entertainment stars. He has a regular position in the security bureau. Unless he is willing, they are absolutely not allowed to come to his house without permission. This involves invading personal privacy. If it was celebrities in the entertainment industry, it would be okay. Even celebrities in other fields of the sports world would be okay. But among the warriors, especially the Star Masters, they were too special. Oh, I'm back. Wu Jiangtao opened the door of his house, but as soon as he entered, he did not get a response from his wife. Oh. After a brief sense, he was somewhat surprised to find that Chen Jun did not seem to be at home. He walked towards the bedroom and took a look. The two babies were not there either. It seemed that they had gone out. I picked up my phone and called the WeChat number directly. Husband. Chen Jun's pleasant voice came. I'm back. Did you take the baby out? Chen Jun was very surprised on the other end of the phone. You came back so soon. I thought you would stay in the gym for a while longer. You didn't accept the interview with the reporter. No, I'm really not interested in this. Where did you go? I'll go find you. Li Ziaoshan and Bai Zioyuan came just now. We were supposed to watch the game together, but the live broadcast was canceled, so we are now wandering around the school with them and their baby. Then come find us. Daewang will be here later. Good. Before leaving, Wu Jiangtao suddenly remembered something. He turned around and went to the kitchen to open the refrigerator and check. There were still some fresh vegetables in the safe, and the fish and meat he had bought in the past 2 days in the freezer. Well, no need to buy any more for now. He nodded and went out wearing this light sportswear. Reading the Bibles. On the campus of M University, Chen Jun was pushing a stroller with 2 little ones sitting inside. They were looking around curiously, with faces full of wonder. Yes. Bai Zioyuan smiled and said, it has become more and more popular in the past 2 years, especially in some kindergartens, which offer special scripture reading classes, starting with the 3-character classic and the rules for being a good pupil and child to enlighten little babies. Is this useful? This was the first time Chen Jun heard of this, and she was a little surprised. The classics she had read since she was a child were basically all from Chinese textbooks. She knew about books like the Analects of Confucius, Zhuangzi, Tao Te Ching, and I Ching, and had read some of them, but she didn't read them very often. Yes, I have. Bai Zioyuan said seriously, when I'm preparing for pregnancy, I will start reading scriptures for prenatal education. Even if I just listen to them, it's very good. It will be a very good influence for the baby. When the baby is born, I will start reading scriptures with him from kindergarten. This is a process of opening up wisdom. I think it's very good. As she spoke, she emphasized that children like Daodu and Myomio can start listening to 3-character classic and 1,000-character classic at this time, and talked about the benefits of reading scripture. Of course, things like training memory and helping babies focus are incidental. I think that if children read scriptures from a young age, they will be enlightened and develop their inherent wisdom. Chen Jun couldn't help but nodded after hearing this. Among her colleagues, Bai Zioyuan might not have high academic achievements, but she has the highest literary literacy among her best friends. Chen Jun seemed to understand something about what she said, and planned to study it himself after returning home and read some classics at the same time. Well, since you are going to read the scriptures with your baby, you must do it yourself. Only if you read it yourself will the baby follow suit. Although she is still learning how to be a better mother, she has a deep understanding of one thing when it comes to educating children. Teaching children is not just about talking, you have to do it yourself. Only then will the children be touched and follow your example. She learned this from her mother. As they were walking here, they saw a very familiar tall figure appear in front of the path under the shade of trees. Chen Jun looked closely and couldn't help but smile. Wow, welcome back the heroes who brought glory to our country. Bai Zioyuan greeted him with a smile. When Wu Jiangtao walked in and heard this, he didn't know how to respond. He was stunned for a moment and could only smile and shake his head. I'll do my best, that's all. Oh my god, that fighter named Zhou broke 2 ribs in the previous fight, and also had 6 fractured bones. Li Ziaoshan, who was boredly browsing her phone, suddenly shouted and handed the phone screen over. Look. Chen Jun and Bai Zioyuan immediately took the phone, only to see the reporter in the video standing outside the hospital gate, presenting the footage he had just captured in great detail. Well, it contained some diagnostic reports from the hospital. The main content above is what Li Ziaoshan said. In addition, there are some words describing shoulder ligament and muscle fascia strain. Wu Jiantao, who was standing in front of them, had a calm expression. He had already expected this. On the phone screen, Kaio, who had regained consciousness, had already sat up from the bed. His face looked a little pale, but he still smiled and comforted his fans, saying that although he could not continue to participate in the World #1 martial arts tournament due to his injury, he would definitely not miss the round-robin tournament of the Marshall Saint Open tournament in half a year, and would not let everyone down. Next, this guy went on to say that with his physical fitness, he would be able to recover in less than 2 months, and then undergo restorative training to get back to his peak physical condition. Finally, he said that he accepted the defeat to his opponent today with a sincere heart, but that he would definitely work harder in the future to get back on track, and so on. Wu Jiangtao. Chapter 245 Little Thoughts. Please subscribe and vote . This guy is quite confident. Seeing the confident look in his eyes and the serious look on his face that didn't seem to be lying, Wu Jiantao was also very surprised. It would be fine if he was just pretending, but if he could adjust his mentality after facing such a huge gap between himself and others, and not be affected by this failure, then no matter what, this Joe nicknamed the Fighting Prince still has some plasticity. Martial arts is all about overcoming difficulties and obstacles, from breaking the shackles and wins and losses from the outside world to every leap in one's inner will. It is extremely difficult, especially the cultivation of the mind, soul, and even the spiritual will. Yes, Wu Jiantao suddenly remembered that the Anglo-sacred school that Zhou belonged to seemed to be very unique in spiritual meditation. Although they did not form a very distinctive self-system style in fighting, and even adopted many moves from other fighting schools, they had a very complete inheritance at the spiritual level. They could perceive the body through the mind, and often burst out with powerful strength beyond the limit at critical moments. Their sect belongs to the Kaishin Ryu of the Western martial arts world. On the surface, it appears to be a fighting sect, but in fact, it is actually a sorcerer's sect with roots in Western religious spirituality. The sorcerers in the Western cultivation world are like the Qigong practitioners in ancient China. They were both very mysterious inheritances a long time ago. According to the records in the classics, both of them have all kinds of incredible abilities. Professor Wu. Hello, Professor Wu. Walking in the M University campus with fresh air and pleasant scenery, most of the students who came and went would greet Wu Jiantao when they met them, and many students even ran up to him and took out paper and pen to ask for his autograph. He was already famous because of the martial arts A-Leg, and now he is even more famous because of the afternoon match. Especially in the audience seats at the game in the afternoon, the short videos taken by the audience in the front seats were forwarded like crazy on major media platforms. They were definitely the hottest ones. But most of the students were okay. They didn't behave like crazy fans, and they didn't try to get close to him and take photos with him. Maybe it was because he was also a teacher, so he put some pressure on the students. Although it had just rained heavily in the morning and it wasn't too hot, it was the height of summer, and after walking for a while, we began to sweat. They found a drink shop, and a few people with 2 little babies with sweat on their foreheads walked in, found a seat to sit down, ordered drinks, and chatted. Hey, have you heard? Lu Wanner and Wang Juan are getting married. What? Even after the child was born, the Wang family originally wanted to suppress their disapproval of Wang Yuan's marriage to her, but they suddenly changed their minds some time ago. In a corner of the beverage store, a few girls were gathered together, quietly chatting about the news that had suddenly become popular in the university town. Do you know why the Wang family suddenly changed their minds? One of the girls said mysteriously, because young Master Wang Yuan got into trouble again. It is said, I heard this too, that the woman who had sex with young Master Wang in the classroom at the University of Science and Technology came to the Wang family and said that she was pregnant, and the child was young Master Wang's. It is said that Lu Wanner and the elders of the Lu family were also present at the time. You can imagine how exciting the scene was. Wow, good fellow. The other girls were stunned, and at the same time, their gossiping hearts were burning, and they hurriedly asked for all kinds of details. Of course, the gossip that these girls were whispering about was not heard by Chen Jun, Li Ziaoshan, and the others. Only Wu Jiantao heard it with his extraordinary hearing, and he was immediately speechless. It's really troublesome. What? It's better not to let my wife know about this, although she probably won't take it to heart and won't argue with me openly, but, however, if she suddenly encounters something unhappy one day, she will keep harping on this point. Well, if you don't use your ultimate ability, just keep attacking A, which can make Wu Jiantao miserable. In addition, there are many other things like what Chen Jun said. I'm fine. This is a spell attack, Wu Jiantao will continue to lose blood for a long time. To be honest, Chen Jun is very good except for being too ambitious and always wanting to go back to the institute to work as soon as possible. Although she is not so considerate in housework, she cooperates perfectly with Wu Jiantao. However, no one is perfect, and Chen Jun is the same as most girls in that she finds a man's pain points and pinches them repeatedly. Moreover, this kind of pinching can be divided into two forms. One is physical, which is to pinch the soft flesh around the waist repeatedly. In this case, she usually can't find an excuse to say anything to you, so she just goes straight for it. The other is that the man did something wrong. Assuming that thing is then congratulations. You will receive all kinds of verbal attacks, and at the same time, you will also suffer losses in other things such as BCD, even if you are right. At the same time, this solution can be reversed to obtain. One day, your girlfriend suddenly gets angry with you because of a trivial matter D and makes a big deal out of it. It is very likely that the reason why she is angry is not about matter D, but about matter C, B, or even matter from a few days ago. As for the standard answers to these questions, anyway, the clever Wu Jiantao would immediately ask his mother or Li Ziaoshan for help when he encountered a serious quarrel. If the quarrel was not too serious, he would directly search on Baidu or TikTok. Nowadays, many couples share various things on short video platforms, which is still very useful. At least it is enough to coax girlfriends who are quarreling or having conflict. Of course, the little things in love and marriage are ultimately your own business, and you should often look within rather than outside yourself. Wu Jiantao has a deep understanding of this point. It was nothing, his wife was just too smart. She saw through his tricks before and then. There is still something else. Wu Jiantao remained calm and didn't participate in the small talk between her girlfriend. When she heard the other girls start talking about other things, she secretly breathed a sigh of relief. After all, the relationship between him and Lu Wanner was perfect, and his wife was his first love. This was a bit of a gap, and that was why when they sometimes had long conversations, she was very interested in Wu Jiantao's past love history. However, some things could be discussed properly, but some things could not be explained away by herself foolishly. I even boasted that someone loved me so and so back then, and that I did this and that. Well, the brain is a good thing. Wu Jiantao feels that he still has some of it. He knows what to say and what not to say. He even knows how to cut off the introduction to what has to be said. Chapter 246. Please get on board and subscribe for monthly tickets. I said. Bai Zioyuan wanted to discuss with Chen Jun about the baby's listening to and reading of sutra, but someone was running wildly on the highway. He was dissatisfied and took the opportunity when Wu Jiantao left to go to the bathroom to speak. Li Ziaoshan, can you please stop speaking in mosaics? Mouthful. Li Ziaoshan immediately grasped this very important word, stared at her with wide eyes in surprise. Not bad, Bai Zioyuan. I didn't expect you to play so wildly. Chen Jun. Bai Zioyuan was speechless for a moment and almost didn't know how to respond. I just said a mouthful of what are you thinking? When Wu Jiantao was here just now, someone was much more reserved, not as aggressive as he is now. Sure enough, if a girl starts driving, then boys really have no chance. It's a good word, but why does it sound so vivid when it comes out of Li Ziaoshan's mouth? Okay, I was wrong. Li Ziaoshan waved her hands. When everyone thought she was going to reform, she blurted out another sentence. Then, a full face should be okay, right? Bai Zioyuan. Chen Jun. Oh my god, where are you, Dawang? Come here and shut up your husband. Among the people, only Chen Jun failed to see the taillights of the car at the first time. But after all, she is now the mother of a 2-year-old baby, so she reacted quickly and looked at someone with disgust. Go, talking about these nonsense all day long. It's fun, right? It's really fun, Li Ziaoshan raised her eyebrows at her two best friends. At this moment, Chen Jun and Bai Zioyuan understood what she was saying and couldn't help blushing. When Wu Jiantao returned here, he was somewhat surprised to find that Chen Jun and Bai Zioyuan seemed to be shy. No, I just left for a while. Why are they so shy? What's going on with Li Ziaoshan's smug look? Wu Jiantao sat down again, feeling puzzled. After a while, Yuan Huang also arrived. I really envy you for having so much free time. He sat down in a hurry, picked up the glass of lemon ordered by his girlfriend, took a big sip, looked at Wu Jiantao and said, can you help with other things in the team? Especially the talk shows. At least you have to help share some of the official media. Everyone in the Tiger Roar squad of the Security Bureau is a warrior, and they are responsible for cases related to warriors or very serious cases, so they are not as busy as the criminal investigation team on weekdays. But that only applies to ordinary team members. As the captain, Yuan Huang has a lot of things to do. Forehead. Wu Jiantao suddenly felt a little embarrassed and quickly said, "That's fine. If it's official media, I'll definitely have no problem. But I want to make it clear that if it's other local TV stations or entertainment media platforms, I won't participate." Okay. Most of these are commercial activities. There are appearance fees and they are not low. The other people in the team are very happy. Wu Jiantao nodded indifferently. Just what I wanted. Well, there will be an interview at Daxia TV tomorrow. You can come then. Forehead. It's settled then. Yuan Huang made the decision and said with a smile, "You have escaped too many times. You can't let me down this time." Then he turned to look at Chen Jun. "Sister-in-law, please lend me your brother Tao. We are a bit busy in the team." Chen Jun smiled and said, "It's okay. Since Jiang Tao is in your team, these are what he should do. I can take care of him at home." As soon as he finished speaking, Bai Zioyuan came over and complained to Yuan Huang, "Da Huang, you need to control your husband." When he understood what was going on, he immediately looked at a loss for words regarding this point. Apart from making it impossible for her to finish a sentence, under normal circumstances, even Yuan Huang would be unable to do anything about it. As for how to do this, cough. It's better not to say things like this in front of everyone. It's too restrictive. Okay, I won't say any more. Li Ziaoshan spread her hands indifferently and grinned. Then Bai Zioyuan immediately turned to look at Chen Jun and said solemnly, "Oh, wait, what was I just going to say?" She opened her mouth, a little confused. On the other side, Chen Jun. Bai Zioyuan was stunned for a moment, then turned to the culprit and said, "Li Ziaoshan, fuck you." 55. Someone immediately leaned against her boyfriend, looking like she was about to cry. "Someone bullied me. She was so mean. I was so scared." Yuan Huang also looked helpless. Next, Li Ziaoshan was unsurprisingly attacked by her two best friends, who made her feel so exhausted that she was speechless. "By the way, Ziaojin, didn't you say that you would return to work on the front line after the two babies are 1 year old?" Bai Zioyuan suddenly asked. "Hey, stop talking. She said before that she would go back to work when the two babies were 6 months old." Li Ziaoshan shook her head, but she is now in charge of the calculation part of our project team, which is also considered a front-line position. She just works at home. Chen Jun was also helpless and smiled bitterly. "I used to think that the babies couldn't leave me, but now as long as I'm away from them for a little while, I feel my whole heart is lifted up, and I think about them all the time. I can't work in this state at all." This suppression of her career ambition, which was deeply rooted in her genes, happened naturally and was not something she could control by her own will. As they were talking, Chen Jun and Wu Jiantao suddenly seemed to realize something and looked down at Xiao Daodu. Well, the little guy's face became stern, his mouth was tightly closed, his big eyes were wide open, and his brows were slightly wrinkled. This expression looked very serious, but with this cute little face. It makes people like it very much, and at the same time they can't help laughing. "Oh my, what's that expression?" Li Ziaoshan looked at it with great surprise and couldn't help laughing out loud. Soon, she thought of a very appropriate metaphor. "Look, the little face is so serious. Why does it look a bit like a soldier's face? Ha, a soldier's face." Upon hearing this, Chen Jun and Bai Zioyuan were both a little stunned, and they also took a good look at him. Not to mention, the little guy's cute expression at this moment really looks a bit like a soldier's serious face. Puff. There was a loud movement in the pocket of the diaper the little girl was wearing, and the mother holding her could clearly feel the little girl through the diaper, allowing her to feel it on her wrist. A sudden warm feeling. Chapter 247. Pregnancy makes me stupid for 3 years. Please subscribe and vote for the monthly ticket tilde. There is no doubt that the little guy has pooped. Tilde. Li Ziaoshan, who had come over to see her younger sister Daodu's expression and was extremely pleased with it, immediately stepped back when she heard the noise and asked, "Did my younger sister poop?" But it was too late. A strong smell had already entered her nose. Well, the two little guys now have a rich diet, mostly consisting of whole grains. As we all know, if you eat too much grains, the taste will. Seeing her miserable state, Bai Zioyuan beside her immediately gloated. "How is it? Does this breath of fairy air make you feel refreshed? Does it make you feel like you're floating in the air?" Li Ziaoshan. "Once my sister Daodu has poop, my brother will definitely not be too far away, and will definitely arrive as scheduled within 1 or 2 hours at most. Let me do it. Wu Jiantao stood up, took his sister from his wife's arms, put her in the stroller, and pushed her to the bathroom. The diapers and tissues were all in the storage compartment under the stroller. Zhao Shan, please help me call my brother. I'll go over and help him. Chen Jun also stood up and followed. Just now when she was holding her sister, she could clearly feel that the little one seemed to have a lot of fluids this time, and it might be difficult to handle. It would be better if she could go over and help. The couple was busy in the bathroom cleaning Daodu and changing his diaper. Suddenly, Chen Jun frowned and reached up to cover her breasts. My milk is swollen again. It's a bit uncomfortable. We should go back too. It's a good opportunity for you to feed the baby. There was a hint of inexplicable meaning in Wu Jiantao's eyes, and he spoke calmly. Okay. Something always feels wrong. A hint of doubt flashed across Chen Jun's eyes. Well, even though both babies are already 1 year old, her milk supply has always been quite sufficient. Of course, this is all thanks to Wu Jiantao. Kov. Those who have wrong ideas can just go and face the wall. He is the one who provides the best nourishment to his wife through a balanced diet. Even in the afternoons, Chen Jun's milk would still swell. This was because the two babies had very delicious and nutritious porridge and fruit puree at noon. So even if they habitually drank milk before going to bed in the afternoon, they didn't eat much. As a result, there was a surplus of granaries. This situation did not occur when the baby was 6 or 7 months old, but as the baby gradually transitioned from complementary food to staple food in the past few months, this happened very often. The feeling of breast swelling is not pleasant. Recently, Chen Jun has talked to her husband several times and asked him not to cook so many milk-inducing foods. Wu Jiantao nodded in agreement, saying, I understand. Then, change the carp and tofu soup into braised carp, change the pig trotters in the pig trotter soup into steamed pig trotters, and change the ribs in the rib soup into vinegar ribs. What bad intention could a chef have when he goes to great lengths to transform an ingredient into another form and make it more delicious? So Chen Jun recently found out that her milk swells almost every afternoon or evening. Well, although it's not very high, it's still quite uncomfortable, so one night someone suddenly said, You're trying so hard to squeeze it out, but your baby may not be able to drink it after you put it in the freezer. It's time for Daodu and Mio to be weaned when they are about 1.5 years old. Or, shall I drink? After all, this milk cannot be wasted. Chen Jun hesitated for a moment and felt that what her husband said made sense. As for how to drink, at 09:03 when he returned to Yunlu Garden, Yuan Huang was honored to be the chef for today's dinner, and Wu Jiantao was responsible for watching and instructing him. In the master bedroom, the three best friends gathered together and started whispering. Hey, Xiaojun, you haven't planned to wean your baby on such a large scale. Bai Xiaoyuan pointed at Chen Jun's granary and asked in a very low voice. What? Chen Jun blushed slightly. Actually, Daodu and Mio don't drink milk much now. Although they haven't formed a very regular 3 meals a day, they will eat fruit puree and vegetable puree for breakfast and nutritious porridge for lunch and dinner. Then you can wean yourself off the milk. Bai Xiaoyuan is different from Li Xiaoshan. Although she has not married Lu Zhou yet, she has been learning about babies. We want to wait until the baby is a week and a half to 2 years old before weaning. Will your milk swell now? Li Xiaoshan pointed her finger out in envy. What are you doing? Chen Jun's face flushed slightly, and he reached out and pressed the guy down on the bed. Wow, this is quite some strength. Someone. Yes, I have had breast engorgement recently, which is quite uncomfortable. At this point, Chen Jun's cheeks turned even redder as she remembered something. The embarrassment and shyness between her eyebrows were so thrilling that the other two girlfriends were slightly stunned. In a way, Li Xiaoshan's imagination was absolutely amazing, and she knew it immediately. So your extra milk. She smiled evilly and made a sucking motion with her mouth. Your husband drank it, right? No. I didn't say anything. How come this guy knew? Li Xiaoshan, I won't tear your mouth to pieces. Chen Jun, who was furious, reached out and grabbed someone and bullied him. Ouch, poof, stop tickling me, save. Life. Next to them, the two little ones were young and had good sleep quality, so they were not woken up by them. The three girls' faces turned red. Then why didn't you tell your Jiang Tao not to drink so much milk-inducing soup? They continued with the previous topic. I told you, but it seems to be natural, and it's so big. Chen Jun looked distressed. Li Xiaoshan. Bai Xiaoyuan. We also wish we had such troubles. Unfortunately, this aspect seems to be more determined by birth. When you have a baby in the future, it will increase by 1 or 2 sizes, so don't worry. Chen Jun glanced at the two people who were envious and jealous. That's not right. What have you been eating recently? Tell me. If your baby doesn't drink much, your milk supply will naturally decrease. Chen Jun thought about it, frowned and said, "It's nothing special. Jiang Tao doesn't make me any milk-boosting soup anymore." That's strange. Didn't you eat anything else? No, he didn't make carp and tofu soup anymore. He braised it instead, and he didn't make soup with pig's trotters either. He steamed it instead. Huh. Bai Zio Oyuan. Li Zio Oshin. Chapter 248 Growth. Please subscribe and vote. After a moment of silence, they both burst into laughter and fell on the bed, limp into a ball. Ha ha ha, this will make me laugh all the time this year. Oh my god, I'm dying of laughter. I used to think that pregnancy would make you stupid for 3 years, but I found out I was wrong. At this moment, Chen Jun finally understood why he always felt something was wrong in recent days. Together, the root is here. Chen Jun gritted his teeth secretly, someone's little trick. Li Xiaoshan and Bai Xiaoyuan had laughed enough, so they naturally didn't dwell on this point any further. After all, they knew how thin-skinned their best friend was. The most important thing is that they have ruined other people's good fortunes. Even though it wasn't intentional. The two little guys fell into a deep sleep again. At this time, the last ray of afterglow also disappeared into the western sky, and only a small half of the sky still stubbornly retained a faint white. In this residential area, the aroma of food fills the air from every kitchen. Wow, it smells so good. After a while, Li Xiaoshan, who was in the bedroom, came out after smelling the food. She walked into the dining room and looked at the table full of delicious food with shining eyes. Today's dinner is to celebrate the outstanding performance of Yuan Huang and Wu Jiangtao in the world's #1 martial arts competition. Let's eat on the balcony, I'll get the drinks. Putting down the plate of garlic vermicelli and prawns in his hand, Wu Jiangtao said something to her with a smile, then turned back to the kitchen and took out a large bottle of chilled fruit tea from the refrigerator. Several girls came out and helped carry the dishes from the dining room table to the round table on the balcony, and moved the chairs from the corner of the living room out and arranged them neatly. Come on. Wu Jiangtao came to the balcony, carrying a large glass bottle of fruit tea and a small glass cup. Everyone took their seats. Zio Yuan, where is your Lu Zhou? Why hasn't he arrived yet? On the way, on the way. Bai Zio Yuan smiled. Their research institute is even busier than us. They will be here soon. As they were talking, the doorbell rang from the direction of the front door. She stood up immediately and said, "Here I am, I'll go get him." Pull. This word is used. Soon Lu Zhou, with messy hair, came to the balcony and sat down after everyone's warm greeting. Congratulations, you have won the first battle. Keep up the good work and create more glories. Let's raise our glasses together. Thank you, thank you. On this balcony, with the cool breeze and the delicious meal on the table, everyone was having a great time. All the dishes on this table were made by our Da Huang. Li Xiaoshan, who had only learned this from Chen Jun today, was somewhat stunned. She turned to look at her boyfriend, only to see him smiling at her for the first time. Are you surprised? Are you surprised? This. She ate a few bites of the C dishes on the table today, but couldn't tell any difference. My cousin's cooking skills have improved rapidly, especially dish C and our local dishes. They are almost the same as mine. You always felt that they were not as good as before, but that was just your own psychological effect. Li Xiaoshan didn't hear this, but glanced at her boyfriend with a smile, feeling a little guilty. By the way, at the end of last year, Yuan Huang also bought a house in Yunlu Garden, and the two of them have been living together, but because they are both busy with work, they go out early and come back late. Li Xiaoshan was still as carefree as she was when she was single, and didn't pay much attention to many things in life. It was only after Chen Jun's reminder that the girl realized this problem. However, at present, the older Yuan Huang is better at taking care of people. Bai Xiaoyuan and Chen Jun both saw this, and have told her more than once that you can be willful for a while, but you can't be so willful all the time. After all, it's rare for two people to be together. They can't just do their own thing. They must cherish every moment of life and make good plans for the future. Li Xiaoshan was silent for a rare moment. She lowered her head to eat and thought to herself that she seemed to be too willful. She should be a little. Okay, I haven't done enough. It's time to adjust myself. None of the three best friends are easy to deal with. They are all very smart. There is no need to say too much or too much, just like the fact that Yuan Huang cooked the dishes at night. Bai Xiaoyuan and Chen Jun did not tell her at the beginning because they wanted her to feel the transformation of Yuan Huang from last year to this year. Whether it is a romantic relationship or a husband-wife relationship, the two parties do not necessarily need to have the same values, but it is not good when the progress in the relationship is inconsistent. Just like many young couples who are about to graduate or have just graduated, when boys are still playing games and buying all kinds of equipment all day long, while girls are working hard and worrying about the future because of their boyfriend's childish behavior. The fuse of the thunder has been lit. Over the past year, Yuan Huang has made great strides towards the role of husband as a boyfriend, but Li Xiaoshan has not felt anything and is still standing still. Although he is tolerant now, it doesn't mean he will be tolerant in the future. In the second half of today's dinner, Li Xiaoshan was not as talkative as usual and was quite silent. As smart as she was, she could naturally see that Chen Jun and Bai Xiaoyuan had been preparing for this matter for a long time, but had been holding back until today to give her the fatal blow. Huaxia is a good friend. Li Xiaoshan was so touched at the dinner table that she then silently fought with her two besties for the dishes they liked. Just based on this friendship, I dare to be rampant in your lives for the rest of my life. W. Hiahiahia. At the dinner table, Chen Jun and Bai Xiaoyuan. Based on their understanding of this guy, he must have thought it through to become so rampant. Perhaps for Wu Jiantao and Yu Wenhuang, tonight's dinner was no different from the past, but for these three girls it was very memorable. Because they lived in an old residential area near USTC, which was a bit far away, Bai Xiaoyuan and Lu Zhou left shortly after the dinner. Li Xiaoshan and Yuan Huang did not stay very late and left at around 9 o'clock. Last year my cousin bought room 802 in Building 11 in Yunlu Garden. It was also a fully furnished house, but the decoration style was not Chinese style, but more modern and simple. Just as they got downstairs, Li Xiaoshan suddenly said, "Dawang, let's take a walk to the riverside. It's only 9 o'clock now." Okay. Yuan Huang felt that something was wrong with his girlfriend tonight, but he couldn't tell what. Chapter 249 Confession. Please subscribe and vote tilde. The two of them just naturally held hands and walked slowly in this neighborhood, filled with the sounds of insects and occasional low bird calls. At around 9 o'clock, many families in Yunlu Garden came out of their homes and walked in the green forest full of the scent of grass and trees. There was a small square inside where a group of ants were dancing in the square. In the past, the music here was so loud that it could shake the entire community. Later, because many owners expressed dissatisfaction with the noise they caused, everyone consciously stopped using large speakers and instead played very soft music on their mobile phones. When I came here, besides the dancing aunties, there were also children running around and playing. Well, the adults followed the children and kept shouting at them not to run, and not to run around and sweat all over after taking a bath. The square is noisy and full of the breath of life. Suddenly, a little fat boy came running over from the square, yelling and almost bumping into Li Xiaoshan. Fortunately, Yu Wenhuang was quick to pull his girlfriend so that the two of them didn't collide with each other. Sorry. The little fat boy turned around and said something to the two of them, then ran away. Although he was fat, his legs and feet were very nimble, and he ran like flying. The guy behind is chasing her with a stick. A complete childhood is so simple and unpretentious. When the mother passed by the two of them, she said sorry to them and then chased after them angrily. Ha. Li Xiaoshan gloated to the boy from a distance. Run faster, run faster. Oops, you caught up with me. Ouch, ouch. Because of his short legs, the little fat boy was hit hard on his buttocks. He screamed in pain, and tears welled up in his eyes. You're still laughing. If you hadn't blocked me, I would have been caught up. Ah, Mom, you have no martial ethics. When the little fat boy turned around and saw Li Xiaoshan gloating over someone else's misfortune, he immediately became furious. The mother beside him immediately had veins popping out on her forehead, and the stick in her hand was raised high and dropped heavily. Just this one blow was more powerful than all the previous love blows combined. You're so rude, you're apologizing to people. You think you can outrun me when there's no one standing in your way. The mother quickly apologized to Li Xiaoshan. I don't want it. The little fat boy felt wronged. Apologize. The stick just rose again. The little fat boy admitted his mistake decisively, ran over and bowed sincerely, apologizing. I'm sorry, Auntie. The next moment, Li Xiaoshan's smirk froze on her face. The mother came over, and when she saw her face, she immediately slapped her son in an angry tone. What aunt? Call me sister. Oh, I'm sorry, elder sister. Li Xiaoshan. Yuan Huang looked up at the sky, rubbed his stomach involuntarily, and almost laughed out loud. I'm sorry, you little brat. Wait until we get home and see how I deal with you. The mother quickly pulled her son, and the little fat boy finally shut up complacently. It's okay, it's okay. How old are you, kid? I'm 9 years old. Oh, you're 9 years old. What grade are you in? 4. Why are you asking this? The little fat boy just gave the beginning of his answer and immediately looked at Li Ziaoshan very vigilantly. How are your final grades? Like, there are homeowners in our community who have specially organized a summer review class. It's not like those educational institutions out there, and it's free, but parents have to take turns. It's specifically for children to review and prepare for the next semester. The little fat boy suddenly felt unwell. Sister, sister, sister. So what? We don't have any life and death hatred. I apologize, okay? I sincerely apologize to you. Please have mercy on me. The mother's eyes lit up, and she didn't bother to pay attention to her son. She came over to talk to Li Ziaoshan very enthusiastically. Who organized this? Can our kid participate? I can even take a special leave. China is now vigorously rectifying all kinds of extracurricular training. In addition to schools, many non-compliant elementary school, Olympiad classes, and composition training have been banned. Today's children are a bit wild. Someone in our community's homeowners group started a movement. Didn't you see it? This class is not actually taught by adults. It is a seminar where a group of children gather together to manage themselves and supervise each other's learning. Li Ziaoshan introduced the product to the mother enthusiastically and in great detail, as if she didn't notice the look of despair and grievance in the eyes of the little fat boy next to her. Sister, sister, goodbye. Their conversation soon ended. Under her mother's stern gaze, the little fat boy waved to Li Ziaoshan and the others and said goodbye weakly but politely. In the end, this unexpected encounter of the big bullying the small ended with Li Ziaoshan's complete victory. After walking a little further, there were fewer people walking on the road near the river, but Li Ziaoshan still had a happy smirk on her face. Yu Wenhuang beside him was speechless, but inexplicably he liked her like this. It was good. He felt that he seemed to be a lot younger when being with her like this. Suddenly, the girl seemed to have thought of something, turned around and glared at him angrily. Hee, someone didn't stand up for me just now. Didn't you see that I was being bullied by other men? Forehead. Yuan Huang was speechless and shook his head, saying, all right, stop playing. It's rare for a little boy to have a summer vacation, and now, a carefree, playful summer vacation is ruined in your hands. Do you have the nerve to do that? It's okay. He will thank me later. Li Ziaoshan smiled, holding Yuan Huang's hand and walking forward, swaying from side to side. As they walked, she suddenly said, Dahuang, you won't dislike me, right? No, I like you so much. How could I dislike you? Real. Of course. Then let's get married. Okay. This sudden sentence caught Yu Wenhuang off guard. He turned to look at her in astonishment. You. What? You don't want to? But he saw Li Ziaoshan glaring at him fiercely, with a rare, faint blush on her face. It was obvious that she had made a great decision when she said that just now. No, I just think it's too sudden, and I should be the one proposing to you. There's nothing right or wrong. Li Ziaoshan turned her face away and snorted. I just don't want you to always do more and better than me. After all, you are so outstanding. If another better girl seduce you, I will have no place to cry. Chapter 250 Please subscribe and give me a monthly ticket, Tilda. Li Ziaoshan didn't say more of what was in her heart, but her other cheek was already flushed. Yuan Huang stopped and turned the girl's face towards him curiously. But I saw that this charming face, which could be angry or happy, was full of a heart-warming blush, and her eyes were full of something as if something was flowing. This was the first time he saw Li Ziaoshan shy, and his heart was pounding. Why are you looking at me like that? The girl seemed unaware of her current appearance. In response, Yuan Huang immediately took out his Huawei mobile phone, which could easily capture night scenes, and took a picture of his fiancée's beautiful face. Look for yourself. Handing the taken photo to the girl, a rare hint of mockery appeared on his face. This is me. Li Ziaoshan looked at the screen and saw that the girl with a blushing face and eyes that seemed to be dripping with tears was actually herself. Giving her boyfriend a coquettish look, she pouted, You haven't agreed for so long, so you don't want to. Only then did Yuan Huang remember that the girl had just proposed to him, but he had not yet agreed. Of course I agree, we'll go get the certificate tomorrow. Oh right, come with me. Suddenly he thought of something very important. He quickly took Li Xiaoshan's hand and ran towards the gate of the community. Follow me. In the hurried footsteps, the girl immediately realized where this boy was taking her. What? Meanwhile, someone is being interrogated at 9:03. Tell me, did you do this on purpose? Chen Jun clasped her hands across her chest and glared at her husband condescendingly. No. Wu Jiantao looked innocent. Then things like carp and pig's trotters will basically have no lactation-promoting effect unless they are made into soup. This still involves the issue of absorption. Pretend, keep pretending. Chen Jun sneered. I am more wronged than Du Yi. Someone is stubborn and will naturally not admit it. Chen Jun directly used the two-finger Zen technique, pinching the soft flesh on his waist, but Wu Jiantao insisted that he didn't mean it. But, humph, if you don't admit it, you will sleep in the living room tonight. I was wrong, my dear wife. I will never dare to do it again. This guy gave up immediately. Chen Jun rolled his eyes at him angrily. It's too late. You sleep in the living room tonight. As she said this, she turned around and walked towards the bedroom. Wu Jiantao's heart skipped a beat for no apparent reason, and he quickly stood up and followed her. Whoosh! Chen Jun closed the door forcefully. Someone on the other side suddenly had an idea and immediately reached his hand inside the door without caring about anything else. Boom! There was a muffled sound, and he let out a scream, which immediately attracted the attention of the two little guys in the room. Wu Jiantao grabbed his hand that was caught in the door, his face twisted, just like the real thing. But Chen Jun didn't know how strong her